Lee Johnson's kick goes into the end zone between Del Pino and Lattenberry, and the Rams on the touchback take it at the 20-yard line. David Fulcher apparently will start for the Bengals. He was highly questionable all week long. There's that veteran offensive line of the Rams. 50 years combined NFL experience. Pankey, Newberry, and company. Jim Everett at quarterback. Buford McGee in Cleveland. Gary starts at running back. Henry Ellard and Willie Anderson wide out, and Pat Carter the tight end. When they go to their pass offense, those men go out, and Robert Del Pino, good receiver, and the H-back Pete Holohan. And Everett loves to go to him in third down situations. Comes out throwing, and underneath the Holohan, and it's a reception of 6 yards out to the 26. Defensively, Skip McClendon, they call him their top defensive lineman at this point of the year. Crumry, Grant, White starts at the outside linebacker position. Zander and Walker inside. The fine rookie Francis from Baylor. When they go to their defensive pass set, these men all go out. Barker comes in. Extra defensive backs Jones, Dixon, and Bussey join those starting 4 DBs. 2nd and 4. Little delay, and up the middle goes Cleveland Gary for about 6 yards and a first down.
Initially, the same problem they've had all year. Just one running play. We can't draw that many conclusions. But again, the Rams broke tackles at that point and gained at least 3 extra yards. Both teams have had trouble stopping the run because they've allowed 2 and 3 extra yards every time somebody rushes against them.
Gary was picked in the first round last year, 226-pounder in Miami of Florida, and he is starting for the first time in the National Football League. Ellard in motion. Down the middle to Anderson. Flipper Anderson. First down at the Cincinnati 40.
We see the seam pass, and visiting both with Ellard and Anderson, they talked about their number 8 pattern, which is seam pass inside of Billups. Billups is going to play a zone defense. You see him widening and backing away. There's the seam, beautifully timed. And Ernie Zampese, of course, developed this with Dan Fouts at San Diego for so many years. But that seam pass with Anderson's speed and the form of defense that Billups and those Bengals play just affords that in break for the big yards.
Averaging 25 a catch. He got 28 on that one. Led the league last year with 26 yards a catch. First down from the 40. Everett on top again, and too long. Anderson thought he might have been pushed. Carl Carter on the coverage for the Bengals.
Aside from the 49ers, these 2 receivers, Ellard and Anderson, may be the most potent in football. And right away they test Carter. Right away they test Phillips. And both those corners for the Bengals are really going to have their work cut out for them, especially when there's just an average to mediocre pass rush this season and in previous years by the Bengals.
Rams chasing the 49ers, who rallied to win at Houston today, 24-21. And the Rams stunned by the Eagles in their last home game 2 weeks ago. Up the middle for about 3 or 4 goes Robert Del Pino, the third-year runner from Missouri.
Again, falling forward. It seems that the Bengals allow people to fall forward for extra yards in their rush defense, and that in itself allows for more first downs, more ball control by the opponent.
Gain of 4 as Derek Faison, a rookie from Howard, comes in. He split to the left. Third down and 6.
Well, typically, Holohan is the receiver in this situation. Typically, he is.
He's the tight end. Their H-back. To this side, Anderson, and that one wasn't close. James Francis, a linebacker, and a brilliant one he is, the rookie from Baylor, was drifting back into the pass coverage, and the Rams will have to bring on the punting team.
Francis is one of the potential, the players of the 90s, linebacker-type athletes. 250 pounds, former basketball player at Baylor. Sophomore and freshman year, both he started or played 6th man on the basketball team. So agile, big, active, fast. And that's the prototype we're seeing now in the NFL.
12 punts for English, none inside the 20. He'll try here. And that one's way too long. Lattenberry could have fielded it in the end zone. So English unable to drop it inside the 20. There is a flag down. Boomer Esiason ready to bring his offense on, but first Jim Tunney. Well, that might be against the Bengals the way they're behaving on the side.
We picked up, no foul. It was a touchback on the kick. First down, Cincinnati.
And so Cincinnati takes its offense on the field for the first time. Anthony Munoz, Bruce Reimers rejoining the club, and that's a big addition. 300-pound guard. Kozerski, Moyer, and Walter, the front five. Esiason with outstanding runner and blocker and catcher and Brooks. Green, the rookie. McGee and Kendall Smith for the injured Eddie Brown. He won't play today. Rodney Holman, the Pro Bowl tight end. They bring in Mike Barbers, the third wide receiver, on 3rd and long. And Holman then, when they go to their spread offense, will play a wide receiver position.
Sam talked about running off tackle, especially to his left early in the game. This is it.
And it's the rookie Green. Gets only 3. Good defense. Fred Strickland from Purdue made the hit. Here are the blue and gold Rams. Strickland and company, the defensive 11 of Reed, Wright, and Smith, the front 3. And they want more pressure from Smith in passing situations. Green's the pass sack man. Stam, Strickland, and Wilcher. Stams and Strickland, the inside backers, go out. And in the nickel, Jackson and Stewart come in to join the starting back 4 of Gray. He's back from injury. He had his knee surgery after the last preseason game. Flag down, and James Brooks has an apparent first down out at the 39-yard line.
Anthony Newman failed to cover Brooks as a wide receiver. Now Newman, the free safety, is responsible for the back lining up as a wide receiver.
Jim Tunney's calling it back.
It looked as though that the Bengals were in such a hurry when they saw Brooks, their workhorse player, outside uncovered. They snapped the ball.
Offensive players on the right side, illegally in motion. Penalties accepted. It'll still be second down.
Such a hurry, they snapped the ball. Boomer did before everybody was ready.
Sam Weiss, a record fine. Commissioner Paul Tagliabue, approximately $30,000 for what amounted to, in the eyes of the commissioner, insubordination, denying the rights of a female reporter to enter the locker room after the Seattle loss on Monday night.
Bottom line is to win games, not so much cover causes and be a voice for a cause. Sam's job now is to win football games, and this one in particular.
Esiason throwing downfield, almost intercepted by Vince Newsom, who came over. And Esiason throwing against his body, didn't have a lot on that throw.
He was pushed. Boomer was pushed right, which is most difficult. Now you'll see Kevin Green coming off the corner against Munoz. Pretty good job by Munoz, but Green is just relentless in pursuing. It's so difficult to work to your right if you're left-handed and throw. And Boomer was completely off balance, and Newsom was able to get all the way over to make a play on it.
So 3rd and long for Esiason. Mike Barber comes in, 3 wide receivers along with Holman, who's split right. Throwing from that dirt infield. Good protection, and the throw to Holman. The big fumbles the ball. It goes right to number 83, Kendall Smith, and the Bengals get the ball in a first down.
Anthony Munoz did a beautiful job on Kevin Green that time. What a matchup. 2 of the best football players in the league. Many say Munoz is the best pass protector, and Green one of the best 3 or 4 pass rushers. But look at Munoz's ability to move his feet. A big 290-pound man moving his feet with that quicker athlete like Green. Wide open Holman. Excellent catch, but not protecting the ball.
Newsom from behind knocked it away, but Kendall Smith, the right man at the right time, he's playing for Eddie Brown, a Pro Bowl wide receiver, injured Monday night in Seattle. It was a tough week in many ways for Sam Weiss. First down. Quicky and wide open is Holman. He's at the Ram 45-yard line before Newsom can drop him.
Holman released up inside, and the defender was blocked out. If we can get a look at that, or if they try it again, we'll give you a look at how they worked it. Holman came up the field, and the man who was to cover him was unable to make any kind of coverage because he actually was blocked out of the play. Holman
might have used the umpire a little bit to break free as well.
He got an excellent block from the outside. Now that can work just once because it really is illegal blocking a man and then releasing a receiver.
Harold Green, the number 2 draft pick from South Carolina, trying to get outside. Strickland and Gray make the tackle. Green, 222 pounds, and Sam says he reminds him of Dwayne Thomas, and he thinks he's going to be a great one.
Well, they need someone to replace Ickey Woods because they're expecting so much from James Brooks. 185 pounds, one of the great situational players in the game, but now has become a workhorse unless Harold Green can pick up some of that slack.
From the Rams 43. Gary Caddis in motion. Green again tries the middle of the line. Nothing there. Hit first by number 93, Doug Reed from San Diego State, and the former Notre Dame star Frank Stamms finished him off.
So there's the quick huddle, attack huddle, they call it, really, at the line of scrimmage, calling an audible, trying to reduce the number of substitutions in the game. Now the Bengals are going to have to wait. They didn't get what they want, so now they'll wait and run a play quickly, hoping the Rams still don't get off the field. Sometimes I wonder, Dick, if they don't outsmart themselves with some of this kind of thing. They'll still have to block and tackle and execute.
3rd and 7. 10 seconds on the clock. Down to 4 is Esiason. Good protection, and underneath again to Holman. He's playing this game in his own room. No one around him. And another Cincinnati first down before Anthony Newman can make the tackle.
Well, without Eddie Brown, Holman picks up some of the pass receiving that Brown normally would get. And at this point, the Rams just aren't covering him. He's releasing outside and then basically shoving off and getting his play made. That I don't know they can get it done all day unless there are more than one person trying to handle Holman.
53 yards of this drive by Rodney Holman's receptions. First down, Los Angeles 27. First quarter, no score. Bengals' first possession has been impressive. Play action, Boomer. Wide open in the end zone. James Brooks for a touchdown.
Dick, this is the quietest crowd, whether it's Bengals or Rams, that we've had all year. Just not much coming out of the crowd, which means the Bengals at least don't have to worry about things they did a week ago in Seattle. Again, they get Brooks to the outside, totally uncovered. And it would be Newman's job normally to get over there, and he must not have spotted him.
27 yards on the touchdown, and Brooks, that must have been a lifetime for him for that ball to come down when you're that wide open. Jim Breach tacks on the extra point, and Cincinnati, an impressive drive of 80 yards on their first possession to get the touchdown and the lead. How did he get so wide open?
He's at the line of scrimmage as a flanker coming up the field, completely fooled Mel Gray. And they felt that Mel, having not played for a while with his knee problem, would be making mistakes, but not these kind of mistakes. The play fake totally fooled the corner, and that really shouldn't happen.
Well, Jerry Gray has played both safety and corner, and just back after an injury in the preseason, arthroscopic surgery, and a little break, a mental lapse, and all of a sudden he passed off a man he should have stayed with, and the Bengals go 80 yards in 8 plays, 4.5 minutes, and Esiason to Brooks 27 yards for the payoff.
Well, what concerned you most about the Bengals would be distracted all week, not being sharp mentally, and maybe not even physically being sharp, staying in Seattle all week. But this first drive is beautifully done, beautifully orchestrated. So many things they planned, special plays, worked for them.
Boomer Esiason, who came into the game with 7 touchdowns but 7 interceptions, and admitted that the game he played Monday night in Seattle was one of his worst as a pro, said, "I wasn't alone." Most of the players agreed that there are very few high moments offensively from this Cincinnati squad that failed to score an offensive touchdown.
Not only a bad game, but a bad week with all of the distractions that I think most viewers are aware of. But Boomer, in a sense, differed with Sam. He didn't want to be bothered with all of this.
Lee Johnson, who's hit a lot of them into the end zone. Lattenberry won't be able to take it out, and that has become a strength of this Cincinnati team. You don't return many kickoffs. Johnson again hits it into the end zone. And the Rams started the 20. Let's look at the other scores in the fourth quarter. Indianapolis coming from behind, leading Kansas City. San Francisco did rally to win at Houston 24-21, and Miami had to come from behind to defeat the Jets at home. Dallas, a big win against the Buccaneers. Seattle outscores New England. Detroit had moved in front and still does. 34-27 for the Lions. Pittsburgh finally scores some offensive touchdowns, and they smother San Diego, and Atlanta leads by a point. Boy, that's a big rivalry down there in the fourth quarter. In the other late game, Green Bay, a field goal early against the Bears. Cleveland Gary gets outside and rumbles for 42 yards, or 22 to the 42.
He broke back completely away from his blocking. The Bengals over-pursued, and Gary just broke back. Now, this is just what John Robinson was hoping to see out of Gary. But Gary has been a utility player as a college player. Not great speed, but his judgment here was very good. And does that take the heat off the Ram running game? Because in recent weeks, they haven't had a strong runner. Gary gives them some strength and some real good instincts.
Yeah, the longest run of the season was 14 yards by Kurt Warner. That one went for 22. Quick throw, wide open Anderson. And he's finally pulled back at the 48 of Cincinnati, close to a first down. Billups and Fulcher got him.
Again, Billups going in motion with Anderson. Here's Sam Reich, and he's got his mind on the game, obviously, with his instructions. And what capacity he must have for all of the occurrences throughout the week. And now he's going over his game plan with his team. Sam runs everything. He orchestrates the entire game plan. He lost Bruce Coslett to the Jets, and now he, without an awful lot of boys from upstairs, is running everything.
Second and short, Gary behind Buford McGee, and the toss to Cleveland Gary. Well, John Robinson loves to run the football. He did at Southern California when he had Heisman Award winners Marcus Allen and Charles White, and he's loved it in the NFL.
Well, it's the combination of Gary now running strong and physically, running up through people. And again, both teams having trouble stopping somebody cold when they hit him instead of allowing them to fall forward for extra yards. And that time, Gary got at least 3 yards after a tackle should have been made.
Robinson, the Rams' winningest coach in history, and you see they're under their performance of last year, and they had 1,000-yard rushers here. Dickerson and Charles White came in. Here's Gary again. Fumbles! And Cincinnati says they have it. They do. The hit was made by David Fulcher, the third forced fumble of the year for that all-pro safety who grew up here in Los Angeles. And he wasn't supposed to play. He said, I'm just hoping my knee will hold up long enough I can have surgery in our bye week, which is a month from now in November.
Those are the things that Fulcher can do, the big, heavy hitting at 235 pounds. Now, Gary tries to spin out just as Fulcher makes contact and knocks the ball completely loose.
And we welcome those of you who have watched an exciting first game of our NBC doubleheader, and the Colts beating Kansas City 23-19. Here at 7-0 Cincinnati. They just recovered a fumble, and it's Esiason down the middle to Tim McGee. McGee out of bounds at the 27-yard line of Los Angeles. Jerry Gray.
Beautiful play fake by Esiason that time. He's not only fooling linebackers and linemen, the secondary, the Rams safeties were held in their positions thinking the ball was coming inside to Brooks. Look at that pass protection, then right down the middle in front of the safeties.
And Tim McGee with a big gainer. And a first down at the 27. Cincinnati scored on its first possession an 80-yard march. A 21-yard touchdown pass from Boomer Esiason to James Brooks. Green up the middle. Let's go back for those of you who have just joined us. Here is the wide open James Brooks. Jerry Gray passes him off. Uh-oh. And by then, too late, no one to cover, and Brooks with an easy score. That drive, though, was, other than Brooks' touchdown, a culmination of the great effort of Esiason to his tight end, Rodney Holman, who caught 3 passes for 53 yards.
Everything at this point has gone so well for the Bengals. Not so much execution, but the plan itself is just dissecting the Ram defense.
Boomer 5 for 6, 112 yards already in this first quarter. 3:52 left in the period. James Brooks. And the hard-running former Auburn star gets a couple or three. Alvin Wright trips him up. We finally found the real story. How could the San Diego Chargers let James Brooks, a #1 pick, go for Pete Johnson back in '83? And what did he tell us yesterday?
It's hard to believe, but there was concern on the part of Don Coryell and the San Diego organizations that James wasn't tough enough, that didn't have the heart to play fullback. At 185 pounds, with Chuck Muncie being the running back, they wanted James to be the fullback, and that initiated a trade because James said, "Are you sure I can do it, Coach? Do I really have to show I can do it at 185 pounds?" And the trade was made, and of course, the Bengals have gotten to the Super Bowl on a good part because of Brooks' play.
Third down. Green! Harold Green to the 9-yard line. First and goal, Cincinnati. Newsom and Newman collaborated on the stop, and the Bengals offense really rolling early here against the Rams.
You just never know what will affect a group of players. You really don't. All week, the turmoil is surrounding the team, mass media in their Seattle high school field workouts, everybody there to talk to Sam rather than to see the team. And the team's still able to function and function beautifully. This is the best they've looked all year.
Esiason with 15 seconds still on the clock, able to move things around. Actually, they spotted at the 10-yard line. Brooks with a blocker. Munoz, touchdown. Well conceived again with Munoz out in front to form the wall, and Brooks has 2 first-quarter touchdowns.
Anthony Munoz, 285 pounds outside blocking a cornerback, and Bruce Reimer at almost 300 pounds outside. Well-timed, Green all over Esiason. He just waits, throws the ball. There's Munoz really taking 2 people out of the play. What I'm impressed most about Munoz is his agility. He's just so quick and nimble on his feet.
James Brooks, who has been a true star for Cincinnati since the Chargers gave him up. Breach adds the extra point, and Cincinnati has a 14-0 lead with 2 minutes to go in the first quarter here at Anaheim Stadium. And a rare smile this week from Coach Sam White.
NBC Sports coverage of the National Football League is brought to you by Isuzu. For features, styling, and price, there's no comparison. By Coors Light, the one that won't slow you down. The Silver Bullet is the right beer now. By First Brands Corporation, makers of Prestone Advanced Formula Antifreeze. And by Liberty Mutual. For your insurance and financial service needs, America believes in Liberty Mutual.
14-0 Cincinnati leads the Rams with 1:57 left in the first quarter. Everyone feels that bye should be a time off that's of help to the team that isn't playing and against the one that has, especially Cincinnati playing a Monday night game, staying on the road, not going home, practicing in Seattle, but it hasn't worked out that way. Bengals fresh and sharp, lead 14-0. Everett goes to work. Complete to Henry Ellard, his first catch and a gain of about 16. Kevin Walker made the tackle.
Sometimes, Dick, playing after Monday night almost forces the coach to practice lightly and not to do quite so much preparation before the game. Of course, the better games are often on Monday night, but still, it demonstrates that it's not so much the laborious kind of practices, but it's having your team totally fresh physically.
And a decision by Weiss, if you'd gone home, by the time you go home, get ready, then you have to fly back, that you lose at least 1 whole day. Stayed in Seattle. Gary is smothered this time. Nothing there at all at the line of scrimmage. Maybe a loss of a yard. Walker again, the inside linebacker from Maryland, the first to the ball carrier.
John Robinson spoke of working an entire week, not on the Bengals, but on the Rams fundamentals, feeling that was the major problem they had in the early part of the season, running the ball. And they've done it, and it's yet to really demonstrate itself.
They lost their opener to Green Bay, then walloped Tampa Bay 35-14 before losing as favorites to Philadelphia here 2 weeks ago, 27-21. Holohan knocked away. Reaching in was James Francis, number 50.
Kevin Walker came from the wrong side of Holohan that time because Holohan could see him coming and couldn't really concentrate on the ball. You'll see the coverage coming straight up the field on Holohan, but you'll see Walker coming out underneath right there. Now that's really a tough catch. That inside-out coverage just takes all the concentration out of it.
Walker to the sidelines as they bring in the extra DBs here on 3rd down and 11.
Walker replacing Reggie Williams after 14 years, learned so much from him.
Ellard to flex it, incomplete, and the Rams punting team has to come on.
The Bengals have used the very appropriate blitzing. They've just picked their spots, and the least likely time they're bringing defensive backs off the corner. And that in itself has forced Jim Everett to throw the ball more quickly and not to look for alternate receivers.
There's Mitchell Price. He ran one back 66 yards for a touchdown in Seattle Monday night. Keith English, the punter, averaging 41 yards a punt. Price has some room. Well covered at the 27-yard line. James Brooks comes on the field. He's got 2 touchdowns. We have a timeout. Welcome back. Final seconds, first quarter here in Anaheim. 14-0. Cincinnati, there are the other scores. San Francisco remaining unbeaten, winning on the road again. Atlanta a point better than New Orleans. 6-3 Chicago leading Green Bay in the first. Cincinnati after the punt starts from its 27. Green out to the 30-yard line. By the way, you mentioned Ickey Woods, Bill Walsh. He's on the physically unable to perform list, but is working out. They say every day looks better, and that it's possible the Yickster might be back when he's due to return after the 6th game.
What a dimension he gave his team when he did play prior to that knee injury, because he could hammer into people. And then they could insert James Brooks, who's a beautiful open field player. So that combination was one of the best in football. But without Ickey Woods, Brooks is expected to take everything. And fortunately, such a beautifully conditioned athlete, he's been able to carry the load.
That's the end of the first quarter. An impressive 15 minutes for Cincinnati. Sam Weich's offense, 147 yards in the first quarter. That's almost about the total in the Seattle game on Monday night when they really staggered. 2 touchdowns. Esiason 6 for 7. 121 yards passing.
And it really wasn't a given play where a man made 4 or 5 people miss and made a long run. It was execution. Any number of different receivers and different kinds of plays, all executed beautifully.
Quickie to Brooks, a little too high, incomplete. And that'll bring up 3rd and 7.
Again, they get Brooks outside, Dick, and he's better than any of the corners trying to cover him when it comes to quickness and elusiveness.
Now that quick huddle, they got the Rams, too many men on the field. That's a free play for Esiason, and he dumps it out to Brooks. 40, 50, slips down, still can go to the 44 of Los Angeles. So there's a case where the quick huddle really pays a big dividend for Cincinnati.
The Rams had all kinds of time to work on this, and they still didn't get it done. Brooks releases outside, and the Rams, the men covering Brooks are still leaving the sideline. So there isn't anybody to cover Brooks to the outside.
Defense, 12 men on the field. The penalties decline. It'll be first down.
I've never seen the no-huddle system work like this before. Even when it was first initiated, never did we catch somebody still on the sideline when the ball was snapped.
26 yards on that play to James Brooks, who's having a all-star first half. He credits Charlie Joyner of the San Diego Chargers, the veteran, when he was a rookie, saying he taught me how to train.
He introduced James, a first-round draft choice, carrying the ball 30 to 35 times at Auburn in a game. He meets Charlie Joyner for a workout in Texas, and he finds that Charlie Joyner is so much better. Oh, this is wide open.
Holman out of bounds at the 12-yard line, but they whistled the play dead, I believe.
But going back to James Brooks, a beautifully conditioned athlete.
Number 63, offense, still first down.
Joe Walter, the right tackle, moving and denying. Again, the receivers for Esiason are wide open.
He's just catching the Rams, I guess you'd say napping. That's sort of a cliche, but they are. They're just not anywhere near where they belong at this point in the game, and they had all that time to work on it. But Brooks, a beautifully conditioned athlete, finding Joyner, and this set an ethic for Brooks throughout his career, and that's why he's playing at this point 10 years in the league, 185-pound running back, still acting as a wide receiver, as a very, very solid, effective blocker, and a fine ball carrier. And he of course, has got great natural ability, but he's talking about his training methods.
That's a lesson for young people. He said, I begin training the day after the end of the season. There he is, slamming into the big people. Harold Green running behind him into Rams territory to the 47-yard line. Now they'll spot at the 46.
Early on, Harold Green was not what they had hoped in early training camp and preseason games and all the way into the fall, but now he's learning the system, and he's watching somebody like Brooks, and the way they look at football, the way they concentrate, the way they pay attention to the plans. Now he's developing, and in a sense that'll replace Ickey Woods until Woods is totally healthy, which may be toward the end of the year.
You saw the 9-time Pro Bowler Anthony Munoz, the giant tackle, leave the field. Almost a one-handed snare by Tim McGee on the near sidelines. Jerry Gray on the coverage.
The Rams are just off balance, Dick, throughout all of this. That time, had McGee turned up the field, he'd have been wide open because the coverage wasn't there by Jerry Gray. Jerry Gray was leveling off at about 10 yards, and Sam Weich had indicated before this game started that they didn't think Jerry Gray would be ready to play, although he's a Pro Bowler, he's not that quick, and they were going to go after him.
First down at the Rams 20.
Esiason could have run for the 20. He had two people out in front of him to block all the time he needed to get the ball thrown, and he'll come to the outside, and you'll see a pattern down the field. But he could have run for yardage that time. Nothing out there to contain the play, and he's left-handed, going to his left, and visiting with Green before the game, he said, I've got to stop that sprint out. So someone like Kevin Green, a Pro Bowl player, again, is sort of nullified, and they're running right out around him.
Esiason now 8 for 11, 173 yards. Leading 14-0. They give to Harold Green, and he's dropped for a 3-yard loss. Number 96, check that, Brian Smith from Auburn, shooting through to make a tackle. He's number 2 pick last year. Bill Hawkins was the number 1 pick, defensive ends, and John Robinson says, I've just got to get some better pressure out of these two young men. One of them has to emerge as a pass rusher and a threat.
There's no real productivity at this point from either guy. They both have ability. Now, Hawkins had a knee injury, and he's just coming off it. But 2 high picks, they're going to have to produce.
Just under 12 minutes left in the first half. Cincinnati 14, the Rams nothing, and the Bengals second and long. Play action, Boomer. Wide open again. It's McGee.
That is about as well as you can fake a ball. Boomer coming out to his left so he can keep the ball in his left hand, and he hides the ball and just sits tight. And McGee then holds his pattern and slides to the outside. Now you'll see the fake here. Now watch Boomer hide right here, and then will come up here and then slide to the outside. So no, even the fake holds everybody. Then the sliding action just gets in behind the cornerback, and Humphrey just didn't even really know where the ball was. Didn't know Boomer had it, and didn't know where McGee was.
3rd down and 2. Flags are down, and Green hit right at the 10. That'll be close to a first down. Solid tackle by Vince Newsom, the safety from Washington.
Well, Vince Newsom and Green hit helmet to helmet.
Just listen to the collision as Newsom comes up to whack Green. All right.
That'll test the helmet.
What was it? What Duffy Doherty used to say? This isn't a contact game. Dancing is contact. This is a collision game. That denies what might have been a first down. It would have been a measurement. So it'll be 3rd down and 12 now out at the 22.
You know, the equipment in this day and age affords for a lot more contact than it did in those glory years where all the physical players we read about. This equipment, in a sense, saves these guys.
Munoz is back in. Esiason wide open again is Holman, and a 1st and goal at the 7-yard line. Oh my, I have not seen a game where so many receivers were so absolutely alone, wide open.
And Holman is replacing Brown in the 4-receiver set as a wide receiver, and he's totally uncovered. Now you'll see him right here. He's going to release up and cross. There isn't anyone near him. Nobody's accounting for him. Zone defense, and he works around behind people. And it looks like Brooks was in front to pull the linebackers forward, but wide open.
The Rams have called time to talk it over. 1st and 5, Cincinnati going for another touchdown when we return.
Cincinnati. Houston. Next Sunday.
A stunning execution of Cincinnati Bengal offense. The Rams haven't been able to assimilate it yet. One wide receiver open after another.
The Rams are just off balance, play after play, and White is mixing things up to the point that they can't pin down anything.
10 minutes and 15 seconds left in the first half. They go for a 3rd touchdown. Brooks for 3 yards. Brooks, who in that great Auburn years when they had Joe Cribbs and William Andrews, Lionel James, and Brooks all in uniform at the same time at Auburn.
What a history of great running backs. Brooks was the ball carrier, and when you think of a William Andrews who played so many years for Atlanta, he was primarily a blocker, only to find later that he was a great runner.
Brooks comes out on 2nd and goal. Craig Taylor, cinder block they call him. Number 20 comes in. It's Eric Ball, the former UCLA Bruin, and is he in? Yes, touchdown.
They haven't run the same play twice, Dick. They've run that what they call a 17 or 16 5 or 6 times as sort of openers in a series, but otherwise everything's mixed up offensively, and the Rams are trying to respond about 2 or 3 plays late.
Eric Ball, remember, as a freshman for UCLA in the Rose Bowl, he ran for 4 touchdowns and 227 yards. A lot of his friends here watching him, so Sam White's allowed him the call for a score. It's 20-0. Breach nails it. 21-0. So the high-powered Ram offense will be tested now. Don't forget NFL Live. You'll not only hear the news, you'll hear new information. Zeke Mowat with Mr. McDonald today telling him that his lie detector test proves that he was truthful and what was reported isn't necessarily so. Meanwhile, the Boston reporter Lisa Olson says that she's had death threats against her. And Mr. McDonald also says Bo Jackson, they're entertaining the Raiders, a chance that he might trade him here to the Rams. Well, that'll depend a lot on how Cleveland Gary does. So join Bob and O.J. and Will before every NBC Sunday telecast. Get the news, new news. Lattenberry, the rookie. And flags go down as Berry's tackled at the 22-yard line. Barney Bussey in on the stop for Cincinnati.
What can tend to happen is the Bengals sense that they're playing well, sense that they're getting results, and then they're inspired, especially after last week.
Illegal use of the hand, so the Rams will start Half the distance now to the goal line. He'll take it back near the 10. Last Monday night in Seattle, when the Bengals played so poorly, they had a total offense of 230 yards. They've had the ball 3 times today, 232 yards, 2 more than the entire Seattle game.
10-yard penalty. Half the distance to the goal line. It's first down.
It just reminds you once again the state of mind when you take the field to play a game of football is so physical, and there's so many sacrifices. If you're just not on edge, ready to really expend yourself, the other team can get the advantage as Seattle did to the Bengals last week. Now they're ready, and the Rams are flat.
He almost stayed on his feet for a touchdown. That double collision takes him down at the 40. Lewis Billups and Ricky Dixon, and Dixon hasn't gotten up.
Well, that's the seam pass that we've talked about. They call it the 8 pattern, and Billups has been burned with it twice now for huge yardage. It's a total of about 50 yards in 2 plays.
And while they attend to Ricky Dixon a timeout, we have 9:06 left in the half. Ricky Dixon off the field under his own power, appeared to be KO'd for a moment. Quick throw by Everett, and hit immediately Buford McGee as he came out of the backfield. Carl Carter made the tackle. Let's go back to the play, Everett to Ellard.
When we spoke with Ellard and Anderson before the game, they felt that the pass coverage with a zone to the outside would allow them to release straight up the field and then either break to the post, which we'll see in a second, this way, or break on an out or a deep in. So those are the 3 patterns they think they can run. In this case, it was a post inside of Billups, and it got there before Dixon could make it, and the collision put Dixon out of the game.
2nd and 8. Cleveland Gary. Some good bumping again, not to the 43-yard line, where it'll be 3rd down and 5. David Grant in on that tackle, along with Leon White. Mass substitutions as the Bengals look for pass. Well, though they're down 21-0, with plenty of time, 8 minutes left in the half, and this high-powered Ram offense, I mean, Everett can get points for you in a hurry. In fact, these 2 quarterbacks were 1 and 2 in the league in touchdown passes last year. In fact, Everett led the last 2 years. He had 29 touchdown throws last year. Boomer, 28.
The problem the Rams have now is one critical mistake, an interception, a fumble, anything like that can really blow the game wide open.
Everett not close on that one, as some pressure and some boo-birds here in Anaheim. In fact, since '88, Everett has been the most productive touchdown passer in the league. Boomer 2nd and Dan Marino of Miami 3rd. So 3 and out after the Ellard catch, and now English comes in to punt.
When you're down 21-0 or even like 14-0, the problem is your own execution, because you aren't going to get that many more chances. So if anything goes wrong, you've lost another opportunity.
Mitchell Price calls for the fair catch at the 20-yard line, and with a timeout, midpoint of the 2nd quarter, 7:34 remaining. A flag is down on the play. Ineligible man downfield for the Rams. See if Cincinnati forces English to kick it over.
You know, Dick, John Robinson
Bring it back.
has desperately wanted to get his running game going because he felt with Ernie Zampese, his offensive coordinator,
Player, number 90, downfield illegally. 5 yards, it'll still be 4th down.
With Ernie Zampese coming in as his offensive coordinator, he just turned over the passing game to Ernie, brought much of what they did with Dan Fouts at San Diego, and it turned the team around. But he feels they've lost some of their toughness in the process because their running game just hasn't been up to par since they lost Dickerson. A good part of it's the runner, but also sort of a psychology, depending too heavily on Everett hitting those touchdown passes.
Yeah, the passing game develops finesse players, where if you run it the way the Bears and Giants like to, that really builds that toughness coaches are talking about.
It helps the defense.
Wolcott's in on English, who hits a wedge shot down to the 25, down at the 26-yard line, and a timeout. 7:26 left in the half. And another flag is down.
Personal foul, number 96, during the dead ball.
Brian Smith, the defensive end, guilty of a personal foul, so Cincinnati will benefit. 15, well, he's pointing the other way. He motioned Los Angeles, and they marked it off against Cincinnati.
both teams are pointing in opposite directions. You can figure that one out.
Personal foul. Number 96, Cincinnati.
Oh, that's Tua Tagovailoa. So
First down.
it'll be 10 against Cincinnati, or half the distance. 15-yard penalty back to the 12-yard line, and we have a timeout. Welcome back in our efforts to bring you the latest advances in medical science and my own impersonation of Dr. Art Uline. This is a bone stimulator, bone growth stimulator. Bruce Reimers credits this with being able to rejoin the Bengals 3 weeks earlier than normal fracture might heal. We'll show you this after the play as Boomer Esiason leading 21-0 with the Bengals deep in their own end and the Rams fans trying to help the defense. Harold Green helps himself to the outside, fumbles, but it goes out of bounds to Cincinnati. They'll mark it where he fumbled the ball at the 23-yard line. And here, basically, it's battery operated, Bill. Let's say he had a fractured arm. They tie it up here above the cast, and they put one little thing here and one there, turn on that battery. And he said that actually, he felt he saw dramatic results in how that fractured foot healed in just 2 weeks.
Well,
You can imagine what that would do if they put that between your ears. I
You
mean,
have all over your body. All over this stage of life.
But Bruce Reimer says, thank goodness he's back in the lineup
Yeah.
3 weeks earlier than he might have otherwise.
5 weeks he was playing. And normally that would take 10 to 12 weeks.
It's a new procedure. It's used for people that have trouble developing calcium when they have fractures. The elderly and those who have various illnesses, but it was an experimental case, and Reimers, boy, he was just all aglow. It was almost like a salesman the way he talked to us yesterday. One, because he's so excited to be back in the lineup, but two, that this really did help his career.
No pain involved, nothing out of the ordinary. You just place it on your on the bone area, attach it. Now, who's to say what extent you could use it? But it certainly helped him. Speaking of Bruce Reimer, between Munoz and Reimer, the Bengals running to their left, I bet they've averaged 5 yards a carry.
Second down and 8. Good fake by Boomer. Incomplete to Holman. No flag. Holman was in the area. That was quick thinking by Esiason. Even though Holman was down, he's an eligible receiver.
And Holman there to pass protect, but Esiason, knowing number 82's there, eligible receiver, you see him fake and come out. Everyone's full, but people are covered down the field. Hawkins putting the pressure on Green, and he spots Holman and just dumps the ball. Now that is really the experience of a quarterback.
Here's
you see
Captain
Holman
Kevin
pass
Green.
protecting, losing Green, and now just being there. And Boomer finds that 80 number and throws it to him. Now that's experience and poise.
There's Green, who held out most of the summer, quadrupled his salary. Third and long, great protection, almost intercepted by Jerry Gray. And that's what the Rams needed, that big defensive play. Kendall Smith, the intended receiver. The Rams defense gets a hand. Now the crowd's stirred up.
Well, for the first time, they've taken that poise out of the Bengals. 2 straight plays, Esiason was in trouble and threw dangerous balls. So there's some hope now for the Rams. In the first half, if they could somehow in the next 6 minutes get in the end zone, then it might be a different ball game.
Mickey Sutton back at the Ram 33 as Lee Johnson in to punt. Johnson, an unsung hero in this Cincinnati season. They've really done a nice job for the club, and he hits a beautiful spiral. Sutton to his 27th. And squirts out to the 35-yard line. 5:56 left in the half. Cincinnati by 21. You know, Bill, I told my son, when in doubt, it's a blind date. If it's a coach's daughter, go for it. That young, pretty face, of course, that's because coaches marry such beautiful women. That's Kim Flores, Tom Flores, the former Raider coach, now general manager in Seattle. His daughter is on the pep squad here with the Rams. 1st and 10, Los Angeles. Not much to smile about from the offense. Everett goes to work. Ellard hit immediately after a gain of 10 by Carl Carter. Boy, this is a terrific tandem. Ellard with a great moves and explosion, and the speed of Anderson on the other side for Everett.
Well, we got some scores, but every play, Dick, Everett's got to look for the blitz, because the only way they've gotten close to him is when they've blitzed heavily, and it's worked early. So every play he's got to feel that blitz and know just who to throw to. Otherwise, if they zone off or play a basic man-to-man, he'll use his basic pattern recognition.
Only other late game, the Bears leading Green Bay 7-3. Buford on second and short gets the first down. Now, John Robinson, along with his concerns about the running game not being what it has been, of course, Greg Bell, who gained 1,000 2 years ago and again over 1,000 last year, is now with the Raiders, is concerned about the fact that they've gone too much deep in their passing game. He wants to reconstruct their shorter passing game.
Well, they've been out first down this year, and when you're out first down, both teams have. But the Rams, when you're out first down, that means first it indicates your defense is not stopping people and letting them control the ball. And secondly, your ball control, running and passing, aren't in evidence. And both teams have been out first down.
Everett to the sideline, complete to Flipper Anderson. And that's another first down at the Cincinnati 40.
Well, you knew that was coming. We just drew up the out pattern over there against Billups. Anderson, twice they've hit the post patterns. And now they're going to go down the field, come back with the out. And in this case, Billups is naturally going to be looking for that post that's hurting. There's the out, breaking right out inside, beautifully timed play. And that's what the Rams are going to have to do with real consistency to get back into it.
Anderson, who had that record-setting 336-yard game against New Orleans last year. Del Pino to the 35-yard line, and a flag is down.
It's interesting that Cleveland Gary isn't carrying this ball now, Dick. They've given it to McGee and Del Pino, but not Gary. And he's the guy they have to develop.
Well, they had a good march going, but he fumbled in the first quarter, and that may have affected the decision-making of Robinson. A holding call now against the Rams, just as they had some momentum. There comes Cleveland Gary back in the lineup.
You know, they're going to have to just throw the ball.
81 offense, 10 yards. It's still first down.
You'll see Francis coming up the field, and right here, looks like Holohan has got a hold of him on the jersey and pulls him by the play.
When you can see 2 5s on the front of a uniform, then you probably know somebody's pulling that thing around, huh? First and 20, the quick hitter to Del Pino. Boy, that could have been something big had it not been for Carl Carter, because he was totally isolated over here. If Del Pino breaks from his grasp, he's gone.
Del Pino to the outside as a wide receiver. Cornerbacks are usually hooked up on wide receivers. So Carter was late getting out there. And you could see that Wilcox was motioning to get the heck out there. It almost cost the Bengals the same thing they pulled on the Rams earlier.
2nd and 11 with Flipper Anderson in motion. Down the middle to Holohan. First down at the 22.
Was he tough getting that ball in traffic? Fulcher was all over him. He had Wilcox there, and he catches the ball right in the middle of the traffic. See him releasing up the field, and watch as he leans in there, 2 people right between him, and those hits were right there, and he's got such poise. And of course, being big and strong makes a difference.
13th catch of the year. He had 51 last season. First down, the Rams need a score. They trail 21-0. Less than 3 minutes remain in the first half. Cleveland Gary to the 20, a gain of 2 or 3. The Rams have just not been able to run the ball as well as Robinson would like, although Gary has shown some plays where he indicates that he's going to be a bright light. 49 yards total today. And Kurt Warner, who was picked up on Plan B from Seattle, apparently his role is going to be backup, that he can get to a hole, but as John Robinson put it, he doesn't get out the other side the way he used to.
Well, you lose that step, and whatever strength you had in the past isn't there anymore.
Underneath to Buford McGee, and the former Mississippi star has a first down at the 11.
Again, if the Bengals don't blitz, there isn't going to be any pressure on Everett. And now when the Bengals drop into a zone, he hits McGee underneath. And he can do that all day unless those Bengals start blitzing again.
The 2-minute timeout.
This is the play that Roger Craig gained so much fame for with the 49ers. What will happen the tight end will release up the field. Then Gary will come out and break under the linebackers. And in the meantime, you'll see excellent protection by Everett. There's Gary coming underneath, and Carter is walling off the linebacker. And so in the zone defense at this point on the field, you'll see a wide open hole right there, and you get that first down. That play in particular, the last drive of Super Bowl 23, Roger Craig caught two of those fullback curls, we called it.
Here's Cleveland Gary slamming inside the 5. In the final 2 minutes of the opening half, and the Rams trying to get on the scoreboard, down 21-0. Kevin Walker made the tackle. In case you're just joining us, Cincinnati scored touchdowns their first 3 possessions of the game.
Tom Newberry pulling it from the left guard position did a beautiful job. You'll see him and Pankey pulling up the field, both leading the way. Then Gary's strength falling in behind it. Now, we haven't seen the Rams do that all year, so they could be generating something.
2nd and 3. Gary, boy, look at him fight forward. He was stopped cold, and he still struggled for another yard. He's close to a first down at the 2.
Excellent strength and power. And with the passing game that they have, someone like Gary can be most effective. Now, you'll see him releasing up the field. Now, watch him break back inside, and he just gets stood up by Carl Zander. What a matchup. Just 2 guys right on top of each other, 2 yards from the goal line. Zander won that one.
Now the Rams come in with extra blocking strength. 3rd and a short yard. 2 yards for a touchdown. Gary, touchdown. Cleveland Gary's 2nd touchdown of this season, and the Rams are on the board.
Excellent sweep play with fine blocking from the outside. Robert Cox came in as a tight end, a left tight end position, and he makes an excellent block. And then Newberry pulls, and McGee blocks, and it's a beautiful job.
Mike Lansford, who's had some troubles with a serious calf injury right down near the Achilles, missed 4 straight field goals. Says he's feeling fine now, and it's 21-7. Rams go 65 yards in 10 plays for the score.
Robert Cox, a tackle, blocks beautifully here. You'll see Newberry pull through. McGee make his block here. Both guards through the hole, and the ball is going to just run right through the Bengal defense. Not enough people can be mustered defensively to deal with these people pulling through the line of scrimmage.
Another good block again by 66 Newberry.
There's both pulling guards looking right at us, coming straight up the field, knock people well and far enough out of the way that Clark, in this case, Bernard Clark, just couldn't get to the ball carrier.
Cleveland Gary, who played some baseball in the offseason in the Montreal Expos organization, hit 275. Had a little trouble with the curveball. He said, boy, it was tough making ends meet. He said, you know, after he took out taxes, you only had about 7. I said 7,000. He said 700.
You know, most guys we talk to look back as football players and think, I could have played baseball. I could have done it.
Especially this time of the year when they're watching the playoffs and the World Series. James Brooks was another. Remember, he came into our meeting with a Cleveland Indians hat on, said, I should have played center field. I'd have been a great player. Probably would have been.
Well, he's the athlete that really could do it.
Lansford's kick is short, very short. Taken by Eric Ball. He's got a hole. And he's all the way to the 50-yard line. To the Rams 49 goes Eric Ball. And with 29 seconds left, that return gives Boomer Esiason a chance to go for at least a 3.
I saw him run through there, Dick. I remember Super Bowl 23, straight up the field, the same exact thing, all the way for a touchdown. A big, active guy like this, just bursting right up between people. And I saw that coming through. I knew we couldn't stop him then. And here he almost gets it done.
Except that was Stanford Jennings in the Super Bowl.
Right, but the same look coming straight up the field.
From the 50. Esiason has 28 seconds. Flag down. Wide open. McGee. No one within 5 yards of him again. Now let's see what the penalty is. He's out of bounds at the 39.
Well, that return really put the Rams in hot water because another 10 yards unless the penalty.
Illegal formation offense. 5 yards.
There's plenty of time with Esiason to hit somebody down that field and get 3 points out of this.
So instead of a gain of about 11, they lose 5 on the penalty. So 16-yard difference, and that pushes them back into the Cincinnati half of the field. You saw they have their timeouts remaining, 23 seconds on the clock. Norman Julius Esiason, first quarterback taken. They didn't take anyone in the first round his year, 84, out of Maryland.
And he replaced a great one in Kenny Anderson. Kenny, I think, helped Boomer in his early stages of his career. But 7 interceptions this year.
Didn't throw a 7th interception last year till the 13th game. The Bengals trying to go 4-1 at the top of this season. Oh, a good thing that the Ram defender fell down over there. McGee was the intended receiver, and Alfred Jackson was right in the line of that pass, but lost his footing.
A trap play right now with Brooks would be beautiful. It really would. The Rams are going to rush 3 people, and you could trap those people. There's nothing. Look inside that formation. No one there.
Flags all over the place. Almost picked off in the secondary. Bobby Humphrey, the ex-Jet. Tim McGee was the closest receiver. Now the penalty.
I'd really be surprised if
51 offside.
the Bengals don't run something inside a running play at this point. Sam's famous for doing that.
12 seconds on the clock. Brett Farinez had leaned offside. And they take the 5 yards out to the 50. Still second down. Boomer quickly running over. Sam White's called him over to tell him something. They've gotten so that they're so good at signaling they can almost carry on a conversation in the room without ever moving their lips. The
entire team. When Boomer does have that attack huddle, the offensive linemen are communicating back to him.
Out of bounds. No catch. Kendall Smith came down out of bounds.
Well, all they've got now is the Hail Mary, because anything else would just take too much time. It's going to have to go down one side of the field to the other with most likely 3 receivers.
Couldn't go for like a 20 down the middle. Quick timeout. 7 seconds. Be pretty tough.
7 won't get it done, I don't think.
21-7 Cincinnati. Very impressive early. So was Houston against San Francisco. They jumped out 14-0, but the Niners came from behind in the second half to win by 3.
Well, that's that run and shoot offense. You just can't control the ball. Houston just couldn't get it done.
Offside.
Extra
Kevin
play.
Green. This is a free play. And Boomer didn't like the fact that Kevin Green, even though the whistle was blowing, knocked him down.
Well, that was really a late whistle. If the officials were going to blow it, they should have blown it much earlier. They let Green get on top of Esiason before they tried to stop the play.
3 seconds now on the clock. I wonder if they'll put the 4 seconds back on here.
Unlikely.
Green can give you nightmares. 3 forced fumbles last year and 16.5 sacks. And Sam White wants to talk it over.
Defense, number 91. Please reset the clock. 7 seconds. 07, please.
Well, they got their time back.
Let's listen for the whistle.
There it starts.
Well,
so Green was right on top of him. At least the whistle Green would have heard.
Timeout. Perhaps a big play left for Cincinnati. There's some fans that could use some of that bone growth stimulator. That
I'd hate to think that they've had one.
That'll harden your seat. Ball at the 45-yard line. Probably the final play of the half for Cincinnati. 45 of the Rams. Perhaps a quickie and a quick timeout could get the field goal unit on. But remember, Jim Breach is really a 45-yard or under kicker. They go to the sidelines, and it's ruled a catch at the 34-yard line. Tiptoeing beautifully was McGee on the far sidelines. And I guess Breach will try a long one. That's from the 34. We're looking at 51, and Breach has kicked one 53 a few years ago. His longest this year is 46.
Well, he's got a good surface to kick from. That's a beautiful carpet down there. So from that standpoint, there shouldn't be any problem with the placement and the hold.
But this one certainly tests the limits of his range at 34 years of age. Most of those 50-yard kicks successfully have come earlier in his career. And, of course, it always could be a fake as well. Barely 52 yards away, Breach is setting it up. He's a golfer, and like most of your placement kickers, talks about the similarities, so many there are, between the kicking leg being the golf club and the whole stroke of the ball.
You think they're having a replay here? They must be.
Play stands after review. First down.
That was a beautifully executed play, that out. Just perfectly thrown and caught.
So with 3 seconds remaining, here's Johnson setting it up. Oh, it's going to be Lee Johnson to kick it. So Lee Johnson, who can kick him a long way. In fact, he's kicked one from about 60. Drills this one, but it is no good. Wide to the right. A line drive and the end half. Sam White, his team's offense, the first 3 possessions, 3 touchdowns. The Rams get one late, 21-7 at the intermission. We'll be back with halftime after this message from the NFL and a word from your local station.
All right, thanks, Dick, and hi again, everybody. We'll get you updated on the Packers and Bears in just a moment, but quickly, let's take a look at the scores of games earlier today around the league. Beginning in Indianapolis, Steve DeBerg hadn't been intercepted all year, but he was picked off 3 times today, and Kansas City blew a lead. This was the game winner for the Colts. Albert Bentley from 10 yards out in the 4th quarter. Indy wins it 23-19 over KC. At the Astrodome, the 49ers' Roger Craig passed Walter Payton for first place on the all-time list for receptions by running backs, but this was the big reception in the game. John Taylor makes the catch, breaks a tackle, scores his 2nd touchdown of the day. Montana threw for 3 all told. 49ers were down 14-0, but they're still undefeated. They roar back to win 24-21. At Joe Robbie Stadium, it was 85 degrees, but a cold first half for Dan Marino. He warmed up late, though. Down the stretch, he hit Mark Duper twice for TDs. This is the game winner with just over a minute to play. Miami 20 and the Jets 16. The Dolphins are 4-1. Vinny Testaverde greets ex-University of Miami teammates Michael Irvin and Alonzo Highsmith in Dallas, and then the rookie from Florida, Emmitt Smith, greets the Buccaneers with this winning touchdown from 14 yards out. The Cowboys win at home 14-10 over Tampa Bay. Here is Seattle running back Derek Fenner, who entered the game at Foxborough with 6 touchdowns to lead the league and added 2 more rushing TDs today. But this was the big one as Dave Craig went up top to Jeff Chadwick, a great tumbling catch in the end zone. 45-yard TD iced the game for the Hawks. They win it 33-20 over the Patriots. At Three Rivers, the unveiling of the Art Rooney statue and the coming out party for the long-dormant Pittsburgh offense. This is their first offensive touchdown of the season. In the 2nd quarter of Game 5, the rookie tight end Eric Green with the reception from Bubby Brister. They rolled from there, 36-14. Jim Mora had to decide whether to start John Fourcade or go with new quarterback Steve Walsh. He played Fourcade, who did well, but not well enough. Here's Atlanta's Chris Miller with a minute and a half to play. He hits Andre Rison for what turned out to be the game winner. Jerry Glanville exults. The extra point won it 28-27. And one other final from earlier today. Detroit beat Minnesota for the first time since 1986, did it at the Metrodome, 34-27. They were down 20-10 at one point, but Bob Galliano led a good comeback in the 2nd half, and now the Vikings are a dismal 1-4. Detroit climbs up to 2-3. In the game you're watching, Cincinnati with the lead. Boomer Esiason with a pair of touchdown passes to James Brooks in the 1st quarter to get them off on the right foot. They're trying to go to 4-1 and all but eliminate, really, the Rams from the race in the NFC West now that the 49ers have won again to go to 4-0. If the Rams lose this, they'll be 1 up and 3 down, and the Rams trail at halftime in Anaheim 21-7. And Green Bay is playing at Chicago. The Bears trying to make their record 4-1. Neil Anderson has a 3-yard touchdown run, the only TD of the game, his 6th score of the year, and Chicago leads at the half 10-6. Now let's turn to O.J. and to Will for impressions of the first half of the Bengals-Rams game.
Well, I tell you, in this game, I would make Sam White the most valuable player at this point. You know, last week, his team went on the road for what was to be the first of 5 road games, and they had a humiliating loss up there in Seattle. They figured to be underdogs this week against the Rams, but by Sam getting involved in this controversy about women in the locker room, he took the focus off his team. His team evidently was able to practice well this week, and, hey, it paid off this first half.
Well, this is not really a good matchup for the Rams on defense because Cincinnati has a great offensive line. The Rams rely more on speed rather than try to overpower you, and as we watched the first half here, you could see the Rams weren't getting any pressure on Esiason. He was standing back there. He's already thrown for over 200 yards in the first half, so if they want to get back in the game in the second half, they got to generate some pass rush on them.
And 2 more quick notes. As Pittsburgh's offense came alive, the Steelers gave a game ball to the new offensive coordinator Joe Walton following the win over San Diego, and San Francisco's 12 consecutive regular season road victories are now an NFL record. We'll go back to the field after this from your local.
Welcome back to Anaheim Stadium. The Bengals, leading by a pair of touchdowns, will get the ball first to start this second half in Cincinnati. Just as the Rams, as the guys back in New York pointed out, if the Rams lose, they fall 3 full behind the 49ers. If the Bengals win, they open up a 2-game lead with Houston's loss in the Central Division. But here in Anaheim, what do the Rams do to catch up?
Well, they can't make any mistakes. When you're down 14, the other people can move the ball so well, you have to execute yourself, and Everett's going to have to throw. They may get 70 or 80 yards running, but he's going to have to throw for maybe 200 yards just to stay up with Esiason, even being down 14 points.
And Boomer having all that time to pass and over 200 yards. He's on more than a 400-yard course. Do you think that Sam will continue throwing the football?
Oh, I'm sure he will. That's one great thing about it, because Sam will just keep the game going wide open. The Bengals have been willing to blitz. The Rams haven't, and that's been a big part of it. The Rams are going to have to come after the Bengals with a blitz. See if Esiason can handle it.
Lansford will kick it off. There's Jim Everett. Not a bad first half. And had his passing game going, and certainly will have it tuned up for the second half if they have to play catch-up. And James Brooks, one of the Bengal stars of the first half. What a player he is. Does anyone, pound for pound, does anyone play harder and better than this man?
You could say at 185, he could be pound for pound the best or one of the very few best in the NFL. He's taken on workhorse implications in his play now with Ickey Woods out.
Eric Ball and Stanford Jennings are deep, and Lansford has to tee up the ball again. Let's take a look at the first half statistics while we have a moment. 212 yards passing for Boomer, 147 for Everett. Total yards fairly close, and time of possession close. 1 fumble, and the Bengals took that one right down and scored. Stanford Jennings flags down, and Jennings drops at the 15-yard line. Paul Butcher, a former Detroit Lion, special team star for the Rams.
Well, the Rams, you can see they want it, no question about it. They want this game. They've sat out for a week, but they know where the 49ers are. They have to win.
Holding against Cincinnati, so that'll take them back inside the 10-yard line.
Yep. John Robinson.
During the return, number 57.
Bernard Clark, guilty of the foul.
Coming down the field, you see a grab reaching way out and holding and pulling his man down. Well, the one thing about the kicking game, Dick, every player is viewed by the officials. They spread out. You just can't get away with anything. The kickoff, the punt, any one of those kinds of plays.
Well, Boomer starts from the 8-yard line. And Harold Green hit immediately, maybe a yard. Brian Smith makes the tackle, number 96.
Smith now came down the line of scrimmage behind the play looking for the cutback, and Green wanted the cutback only to run into Smith. It could be they've made adjustments related to the running game. One of the Rams' problems is adjusting to the no huddle and to Brooks. Here he comes again as a wide receiver. Who will handle him?
And a tough area for Cincinnati in which to operate, playing on the skin part of the infield. Hasn't been resod yet after the Angels season. Esiason incomplete. Tim McGee out at the 25, well covered. There were 4 Rams around him. Bobby Humphrey made the hit.
That's a tough call down there. He threw that ball at least 30 yards to gain about 10, the Rams in a zone defense, that could have really been trouble. Again, of course, the Bengals could have problems. Any big turnover now, and the Rams are right back in it.
Brooks comes out of the backfield wide left. Smith far right with McGee in the slot. 3rd and 9. Cincinnati has really been outstanding in 3rd and long. Wow, trying to make it tough on Boomer. Over the middle, and there's Holman again, the tight end to the 27, and a first down. Rodney Holman.
Holman Dick between linebackers. He's been there all day. The Rams are busy looking at Esiason, and Holman's working right in between them, over and over. He's coming straight up the field. There it is, right between people, and Boomer puts enough on the ball
That's
to
a
get it
terrific
done.
throw, wasn't it?
It really was. But again, the zone defense, the Rams aren't quick enough to respond. They're not holding them up at the line, which is one of their problems.
Holman, underrated perhaps, though he's been in the Pro Bowl the last 2 years. Not a name thrown around the NFL chats in this country, but he's as good as any tight end. Little option to Brooks. Did that work? And Brooks slamming his way. Boy, he plays with the mentality of a 235-pounder. He takes you on. Another first down as Newman and Humphrey make the tackle.
Absolutely no support coming down the line of scrimmage. And you'll see Esiason absorbing the ball. Then watch the fake. That holds people. Wilcher's held inside, and now Brooks is on his way. Excellent blocking downfield, but there wasn't any safety support.
15 yards on the carry for James Brooks, who has 2 touchdown receptions today to go with his 24 yards rushing. And he'll block as well as any running back in the game.
There have been a number of individual tight plays the Bengals have executed, not related to each other, that have worked.
Green, a little misdirection. And he shows his athletic talent. Baldy, but fumbles. And the Rams, Vince Newsom has it. Let's see if the play, yes, it is. Ruled a fumble. The Rams have the ball. Newsom ripped it away from Green, who made a dazzling run to that point.
But it was a beautifully executed play, and Green's open. Now watch him leap in the air, and I think that's when he lost the ball. When he tried to make a jump, and the ball sort of hung out behind him, he lost it at that point.
Look at Newsom just
nice job
pickpocket.
Up in the air, and Newsom catching him just from behind.
That was a pickpocket job.
He actually just pulled it away very gently.
So the Rams finally get a turnover early in this second half, trailing 21-7.
Well, that's what they needed. Now they're around the 40-yard line, so they can go for it. They can get it field position. If they hold that, they'll finally score. Sooner or later, they can keep driving the Bengals back.
I don't know what the delay is for here. Perhaps they're reviewing it. Take another look at. Clearly, he was not down.
That shouldn't take long at all. There it is. He just pulls the ball away. Got it now.
Now they're reviewing to spot where to put the ball. At the 42-yard line is where they've placed it. So Harold Green having his finest run of the day, only to lose the football. So just as Cleveland Gary, the young running back of the Rams, has lost a fumble, now Green has as well. Play stands, says Jim Tunney, and the mark is at the 44-yard line. Here come the Rams, down 21-7, first possession, second half.
The good news, the Bengals fumbled, but the bad news, the Bengals beautifully blocked the Rams again in the second half.
Everett, a quickie, complete to the 49 to Ellard. They say about Ellard and Everett talking about, he said, give you a little line on each of my receivers. Ellard, he said, every time I throw to him, he's so wide open. He makes his break and he leaves the defender, and he said he's so easy to find.
Well, that quickness, that nimble quickness that he has, you see him leave the line of scrimmage and burst, and the ball's already in the air. And that's really tough. Carter didn't have a chance to respond to anything.
And he really excels at those 16, 17-yard patterns that you like, Bill.
And meanwhile, they've got Flipper on the other side.
Cleveland Gary finding his way to a first down on second effort to the Bengal 45.
Now, this is important for the Rams. Throw the ball on first down. Don't come right out and give it to Gary again for 3 yards. Get the Bengals off balance. because they've got the passing game. There isn't any question. They've got all the tools they need to make the big plays and to control the ball.
That's the best number for any running back for the Rams this year, 55 yards in a single game. Anderson left, Ellard right. And another one for Ellard. But Ellard was bumped by Billups, and he complains about it.
Ellard coming off the ball again. Billups outside. There's the out move, then the up move, and there's the shove. Now that's at least 10 yards down the field. Now Billups would argue he had to do that to protect himself. They got the wrong coverage that time. They got a rotation toward it. They very well could have thrown the ball to the fullback. But we knew the Rams were going to run double moves, you call them, an out or a hook, then up, because the Bengal corners have been known to bite at around 10 yards. They'll come back to something like that before the game's over.
Gary, the flag's down. And that's usually the umpire's notice of a hold on offense.
Oh, that drives you crazy, Dick. When you're trying to establish a running game, you finally get it well blocked and done, and somebody's holding. And often it's not the same guy. You'd like to pull somebody out and find out what the hell they're doing, but it's different people. It keeps cropping up differently.
Holding, 67 offense, still second down.
Duval Love, the right guard, guilty. They've got a terrific offensive line, the Los Angeles Rams, and a first-round pick, Bern Brostick from Washington, 300 pounds, that Robinson says you're going to really see a player extremely strong. He's the heir apparent to Doug Smith, the veteran center.
Brostick, they think, John just openly volunteers an all-pro caliber. Uh-oh.
Wide open is Anderson. Flipper, touchdown.
Zone defense. Anderson slips up in the slot, and the weak safety Wilcox just didn't get over there. Big hole. When you play that kind of zone, you're going to have to hold up somebody like Anderson. And the Bengals don't even slow him down. He's straight up the field.
55-yard strike as Flipper Anderson, who gets the big plays. He's averaged in his 3 seasons here more than 25 yards every catch, and he's averaging that today. 4 catches, 103 yards. A big one there for 55, and the Rams are back in it as Lansford tries the point after.
Now the Bengals tried to stay in a 46 defense, and there was no one, wasn't anybody near Anderson when he came up the field. Wide open.
It's more than just a game. 17! And if you play your cards right, 20! You could win it all. 25! 25? I won! With that lineup? Yeah! Yeah!
Play Diet Coke Super Bowl lineup, and you could win up to $25,000. Game pieces and caps only on packages with Super Bowl lineup emblems.
Tough luck, Boomer.
Collect and win or win instantly.
Hey, a Super Bowl trip!
With 100%. NBC Sports coverage of the National Football League is brought to you by Honda, maker of fine quality automobiles. Test drive a Honda at your local dealer today. By Diet Coke with 100% NutraSweet. You'll drink it just for the taste of it. By Dean Witter. There are many ways to measure success. Dean Witter measures success one investor at a time. And by Hertz. We never forget who made us #1. We're Hertz. We're America's wheels.
Dragged down at the 25, and a flag goes down. Greg Clark, acquired from Green Bay on waivers, made the tackle.
The Rams have got the Bengals backed up again.
Eric Ball injured on the play.
Bengals are going to have to generate offense now, at least to get field position back.
But a penalty will push them the wrong way.
Illegal block on the return, number 52. On the spot with the red ball, 10 yards.
Craig Ogletree, a rookie. The penalty. And so Cincinnati so brilliant on offense in their 3 possessions, 3 touchdowns the first half, struggling here in the second half. 10:29 left in the third quarter, and now the crowd at Anaheim Stadium raises up the level a notch. Coleman having a field day, about 10 yards to the 25. Let's go back to the touchdown to Anderson.
The mental part of the game is so important. Look, Phillips is all by himself here, and watch what happens when the ball's centered. The Bengals completely blew their pass coverage. No one there for either receiver. Wide open, both of them. And, of course, Wilcox is not going to get over to cover anybody. So they could have taken their choice there. It had to have been a blown call by probably a safety man or one of the linebackers. They didn't account for 2 receivers.
That's right. Del Pino was just as open. This is James Brooks on 2nd and short, picking up the first down out near the 29-yard line. Frank Stamms, former Notre Dame All-America, tripped him up.
Boy, is there an ebb and flow in sports, isn't there, Dick? You can just see momentum swinging back and forth, and you begin to tout one team as being so ready and prepared for a game in spite of all the odds, and it comes back to haunt them again. Now the real character shows up.
Well, they scored after the Rams did after James Francis fumble when Vince Newsom just picked the ball away from him to make it 21-14. First down, Brooks. Fred Strickland, Mike Welcher, Alvin Wright and company push him back after a short gain.
Now they're catching the play from behind. In that particular case, catching it from behind, it never could really get on track. And earlier in the game, the Bengals were making that work, pulling their guard and tackle. But now the Rams are chasing it down.
Remember, the Bengals are playing without Eddie Brown, injured his knee against Seattle, missing this week, might even miss next week at Houston. This is the 2nd stop of 5 consecutive road games. The baseball playoffs forcing the Bengals out of Riverfront. They would have played Houston at home next Sunday.
Call because of the coverage. It's going to be a double rotation, and Asias Ansah has got a special play for it. There it is.
Brooks again, and still on his feet. Boy, is he tough. James Brooks to the 40-yard line.
Asias Ansah, the double rotations. Both safeties were deep, so he knew immediately he could get somebody down the middle if they could release. Now, this is what Asias Ansah, both of these men, ready to rotate to the outside, so he's going to put Brooks right up in between them. You see him release down the field, nobody holding him up, good protection, both safeties rotating. That's an audible, beautifully done.
And look at the toughness of Brooks meeting the 3 defensive backs, and it took the 4th, Anthony Newman, to bring him down. First down at the Rams 40-yard line. 92 yards on 4 catches, plus 30 more yards running.
All of that at 185 pounds.
And 10 years in the league.
And the Chargers let him go because of the lack of courage or the lack of a heart.
They said he was a crier. He said, boy, did I laugh, though, when they traded me. Little misdirection, and it's Harold Green. Couldn't get around the corner. Good play by Newsom again.
Sam's going to have to leave that guard tackle pull play because the Rams are really zeroing in on it. The only thing he's got now, and most likely he'll pull, is a play pass coming off it. Maybe he just calls that to get it stopped so he can go deep down the field faking it.
Second down and 11. 21-14 Cincinnati. They led 21-0 into the second quarter. 6.5 minutes remain now in the third period. Holman again, and what a play that was. That was strictly on an eyesight communication. Holman saw Boomer roll out away from pressure, readjusted his route, and what a throw and catch.
And he's managed to stay in bounds along that sideline. I was sure he was pushed out along the way. But again, he reads. Now, that's just pure experience. Boomer knowing where to go. You see Boomer confronted on his left. He has got to go out to his right, and really tough going gear riders at quarterback, and Holman reads it and goes up the field. Beautiful job.
There's a case where a less experienced player would have just stopped, waited, the play doesn't work. Instead, he went for the sidelines and down the sidelines, a 27-yard play. First down at the 14. Play action. Limited protection, and then he has to throw it away. Brooks in the end zone, the closest Bengal.
Well, that's where the Rams are their toughest, in their zone defense near the goal line. They back off and use the in line as part of the defense. And in this particular case, you'll see people dropping off to the outside, and
well, they've got the quick huddle on you there, Bill.
Yeah.
The throw is to Green. Harold Green, touchdown. Esiason's third touchdown throw of the game, and Harold Green has his first as a receiver.
Well, the Bengals just attack you from all directions, using all receivers. And again, the Rams, I was going to point out that the Rams were caught down the field with a zone defense, and this time they threw it in front of the zone defense.
(27-14) as Breach sets up for the extra point. Here's Esiason. He's another one of those baseball players. He came out here yesterday, went out to the mound and imitated. He was about to play a baseball game, 28-14. He was unbeaten as a left-handed pitcher in high school. 2-touchdown lead again.
Nothing refreshes quite like the real cola taste of Diet Coke. With 100% NutraSweet.
Hey, where's Boomer?
Guys!
28-14 here in Anaheim. Lee Johnson again drills it right to the goal line and through. Another touchback. And now let's check the Hertz 10-minute ticker as the Rams will play it from the 20. Indianapolis, San Francisco, and Miami winners. Miami now 4-1. And Dallas gets another win at home, surprising Tampa Bay. Seattle and Detroit a winner against the Vikings. Pittsburgh found the offense against the Chargers. Atlanta by 1, and the Bears lead by 4 in the third period of the other late game. And here's Sam White, a very troubled week. Stiffest fine ever handed out by the commissioner to a coach, estimated at $30,000. And that story isn't over yet. Sam has his own special plans about how he's going to entertain the press after the game today. Everett hit, and it'll be ruled a forward pass as James Francis, the rookie who has 5 sacks already to lead the Bengals, in on the backside.
Francis can do everything. 5 sacks already, as you point out, Dick. He's coming up the field with that strength, and no one blocks him. The Rams failed. Either he came late and they took their eye off him, or they blew the protection. You can't let a guy like this unblocked, especially to the backside of the quarterback.
Said he was sitting on draft day with the Bears. If he would have signed before they drafted him, they would have taken Francis. He said no, he didn't want to sign that early. So the Bears picked Mark Carrier, and the Bengals took Francis. Quickie, Buford McGee breaks the tackle. And sprinting from behind to make the stop was number 59, Kevin Walker. Wilcox had missed the initial contact. So Sam Morris, his feeling is that his players are embarrassed, and it's not the right environment to be naked while you're being interviewed by women. He says, but at the same time, women should have equal access. So he feels that that's the whole point here. They don't have to be in the locker room to have equal access as long as everything's the same. And here in Anaheim, he's devised a big curtain system today after the game. Cleveland Gary, big hole, gains close to first down yardage. Now here we just moments ago we're in the locker room. Here are the lockers, and there's the curtain. So the players will have seats around behind this curtain. They'll take their clothes in there. They'll put their pants on after they shower, and then come back on the outside of the curtain with the idea the press shouldn't go on the other side of the curtain. But if the press should go on the other side, there's no one there to stop them, and then we might have another whole harangue.
Well, I'm afraid Sam would be there to stop them, and you want to avoid that kind of thing.
But the idea is to at least let the men get some of their clothes on before entertaining the press. So that is his answer, and then they'll all meet out here. And see, this is the normal area where reporters would come in. Men would be in various states of undress, and whether they're interviewing you or not, it's just hard. The towels and the robes just don't do the job, apparently, Coach. Is that it?
No, that's it, I'm sure. But the problem for Sam is that he's getting, a reprieve this week because this is maybe the only locker room in the league where you can separate it with those curtains. Most of them, they're so small that the curtain effect wouldn't be there. There wouldn't be room to do it.
You look right into the showers. Now they're wide open.
I think Sam feels the cause. First, he totally understands it is, in our conversation, the women should have access to the players.
Equal access.
Equal access, no problem. He thinks it can be orchestrated so that women can have access and yet the men can retain their modesty and privacy. And in theory, it's great, but facilities really aren't there around the league to accomplish both those things.
In fact, he said he actually gave priority to the female reporter. He said he took Boomer away from the other reporters so that she could have him first in Seattle. He said that what it may boil down to is that the male reporters are going to have to join the women in another room or in another place rather than just having free reign in the locker room. Well, it goes on. 28-14. Wide open, Del Pino tried to run before he caught the ball.
The Bengal corners are just giving up that quick pitch-type pass over and over, and maybe they'll say, look, come up and make the stop for a 5 or 7 yard gain. Occasionally, someone like Del Pino in this case might drop it. There's Dick LeBeau, who's sort of giving that up, dependent on his cornerbacks to read the quarterback and not get beat deep.
Third down and less than a yard. And Cleveland Gary, boy, that's going to be close. Will depend on the spot. Pretty good spot. It appears he has made it.
Bengals really attacked it, but there were just too many blockers for anybody to penetrate far enough to stop the play.
Walker and Fulcher making the tackle. There you see big David Fulcher, a bad left knee, and he surprisingly is playing today. We saw him yesterday at practice. It didn't look as if he'd be able to get into action. That knee is very sore. It needs some arthroscopic surgery, and he hopes he can hold off until the first week in November. That's when the Bengals have their bye, and that's when he'll have the surgery done.
Well, he's been a real force. I'm surprised he hasn't been burnt so far today. He's up making stops. They're keeping him close to the line of scrimmage. But if they can ever get him deep, he just can't cover ground or change direction at all.
Now Robinson watched that with considerable interest as his team barely made that first down just across the 43. They trail 28-14 to Cincinnati with 3:40 left in the third period. Deep off the fingertips of Flipper Anderson. Well, that was a terrific throw by Everett.
Everything just about right within inches of being a perfect play. Anderson's speed was way too much for Carter that time. And you're not getting a safety back to help. Normally you'd have a safety working back from our direction in the camera back toward it, and there isn't anyone there. So that one-on-one situation the Rams can come back to later in the game. The Bengals just aren't adjusting, Dick, to more than one spread receiver to either side. They just don't have enough people by the design of their defense.
Incomplete as Ellard with a drop. Oh, in this sequence, Del Pino has dropped one. Now Ellard with a miscue, and Anderson just missing on connections for a touchdown.
Well, Fulcher, we just spoke of, was blitzing from the outside. And I can recall our Super Bowl game and other games we played against the Bengals. When 33 is near that line of scrimmage, look out, because he's as big as the linebacker. And he's coming from a position that you don't account for to block him.
They call him the Rock. Fulcher at 238 pounds at safety. Ellard, a catch, but it's shy of the first down at the Bengal 47. And on fourth down, Robinson down by 2 touchdowns, getting a lot of help from the coaches and the crowd.
It looks like he's going to give it a try. He's going to go for it. He must figure on 4th down, the Bengals are moving the ball so well against us, we're going to have to control the ball and retain possession. That must be it, because it's awfully early in the game to give the ball to the Bengals in this spot. So I think John's about 10 minutes early going to this tactic.
You better hurry. The clock is already to 12, 11, 10 seconds. 4th and 1, 4 seconds, and Everett doesn't have time, so he calls a timeout. 2:35 left in the 3rd period. The Rams trail by 14.
If you can't pass block in this league, it's going to be a short-lived career. The quickness and the speed and the strength that a lot of these defensive linemen have, you use his momentum a lot of the times to finish him off and put him on the ground, and then you end up either on top of him or, you know, rolling him into the turf. And, you know, for an offensive lineman, that is what's satisfying in the game, and when you accomplish a block like that.
Honda. It's the fun.
It's more than just a game. 17! And if you play your cards right, 20! You could win it all. 25! 25? I won! With that lineup? Yeah! Play Diet Coke Super Bowl lineup, and you could win up to $25,000. Game pieces and caps only on packages with Super Bowl lineup emblems.
Tough luck, Boomer.
Collect and win instantly. Hey, a Super Bowl trip! With 100% NutraSweet. A woman.
Wrestling is a school sport, and there are boys and girls in the school.
In the men's locker room.
Social change is like exercise. No pain, no gain.
It's about pride.
You're my man.
I'm so scared.
Today's biggest controversy and today's hottest new show, Hull High on NBC tonight.
The Bengals 28 and the Rams 14. 2.5 minutes plus remaining in the 3rd period, and a critical 4th and 1 call for John Robinson's Rams. What are they going to do, Bill?
He's going to have to go inside over the top.
Cleveland Gary right up the middle. 1st down.
As soon as you see that I formation, Dick, you know just what they're going to do. And that was a logical thing to do. The previous formation looked like a passing formation on that 4th and 1. And it looked like John was going to go for the works. But in this case, more conservative. And now they've got field position. They've got to get in the end zone. But 2 touchdowns, that's going to be tough because the Bengals are moving the ball when they get it. The Rams have yet to really stop them.
Saw Sam Weiss. If the Bengals win, it'll be his 55th victory, tying owner Paul Brown's mark at 55. Open Del Pino. 1st and goal at the 10.
Zander trying to cover Del Pino, a mismatch. Zander at 245 pounds coming from the inside. We're going to catch it in a second. Here it comes. Down the field is Zander, and not really able to sprint with someone like Del Pino. Well done, well designed. And they picked their spot with it.
And, of course, that Ernie Zampese pass offense, that quarterback throwing the ball long before the receiver has made his final break or even looking for it.
Everett's had some beautiful shots down the field. In fact, both quarterbacks touch passes well down the field.
They have to go nearly the full 10 for the touchdown. And they get it on one throw to Damone Johnson, the tight end.
Johnson not covered, releasing straight up the field, no one holding him up. It looked like 91 Zander was the closest man to the picture, but both teams' tactics seem to be paying off. They're breaking the defenses.
Damone, who was one of the many Ram holdouts, he had 5 touchdown catches last year. That was his first this season. Lansford for the point after. And it's 28-21.
Well, we've got a game. Everett dropping out. You'll see Johnson right here. See, no one near him. Not at all. Not even close. John Robinson feeling better.
minute left in the third. The Rams have pulled to within 28-21. Short kick, Mitchell Price for the injured Eric Ball. And Price crossed the 30-yard line. Let's go back to the Del Pino catch that set up Johnson's touchdown.
The Rams do a beautiful job of releasing up the field with the tight end and Anderson. Both Carter and Anderson making it tough for Xander to cover Del Pino, who runs this way, then up. Xander can't stay with it. So take a look at screening him off, making it very difficult for him to be covered because of the releases here. And then as Del Pino releases outside, Xander's caught running laterally, and then he just turns up the field. Del Pino's big play, but Everett threw it beautifully, too.
From the 32, it's Esiason's turn. Fumble, and the Rams recover. Mike Wiltshire. Followed Lawrence Taylor out of North Carolina. Wiltshire right there to pick up the bobbled toss on that option, carries its risks.
You can't run that kind of a play twice. Wiltshire, remember, those who are watching, was really beaten on the option the first time. He bought the fake. The second time, no way he bought that fake. He watched that quarterback penalty Esiason and went out and made the stop. So you just can't run those special kind of plays more than once. The smart veteran defenders like Wiltshire figure them out, and of course the coaches help them with it.
They're reviewing this, perhaps wondering whether or not it was a forward toss and not a lateral pass. No, he was behind Esiason. Let's look at it from this angle.
See, Esiason down the line of scrimmage. Wiltshire's playing it beautifully. He can handle Esiason and the toss, and in this case, Brooks took his eye off the ball because Wiltshire was right on top of him.
Ruled a fumble, first down at the 28 of Cincinnati. Going for a tying score. Everett. What an effort. He fumbled the ball. As he fell, he was losing his grasp on the ball, and let's see, they say he was down at the 23. Doug Smith had recovered it anyway.
Everett, not a great runner, but he was a prudent runner in this case. He went down early, but he didn't protect the ball. He looked at 1-2 receivers, almost sacked. Now running up the field, put the ball in both hands. Francis is right there.
Francis was the man who pressured him initially, had a chance for the sack. Instead, Everett scrambles and picks up 5. Cleveland Gary. First down at the 12. And that is the end of the third quarter. We'll be back after these messages from your local station.
Getting ready for kickoff is easy with JTM barbecue and Grippo potato chips.
Yep, crunchy Grippos and a quick, great taste of JTM make perfect party partner.
How many sandwiches you
I'll
want,
have 2 of those beef barbecue.
I'll have 2 of the pork barbecue.
I'll take the rest of them and more Grippos.
Figures.
Hey, we are just in time. Here come the Bengals on the field. Hey,
what are you doing here?
Hey, it's the quickest way to take JTM.
I'll take these to go.
Congratulations, Cincinnati Reds, on winning the Western Division.
Welcome back to Anaheim Stadium. Dick Enberg with Bill Walsh. This crowd of some 65,000 enjoying an offensive circus, 28-21. And now it's the Rams that have Cincinnati on the tight wire. The Rams 3 straight touchdowns, and they're down to the 12-yard line after the fumble recovery by Wiltshire at the Cincinnati 28. And it's 1st and 10 for Everett as he goes for the tying score. Cincinnati once led 21-0. Gary. Lurching forward inside the 9.
Xander and Fulcher right in the middle of that play. The Bengals don't have great history in this part of the field defensively. They just aren't big enough to stop people, and most often people have been able to get in the end zone. So this is really a test for them. And the way Gary's running, he's breaking tackles. That last play prior to the fourth quarter starting, he broke back behind both safeties for a big play.
Del Pino and McGee are in the backfield now with Holohan in motion. Incomplete. Almost looked as if Everett didn't want to throw that, was trying to check his throw, and it slipped out of his hand.
I think he wanted to come back to Holohan, who'd gone in motion and hooked, but he was covered too. Everybody was handled right there.
Well, this game, as close as the score is about to be, apparently. Cincinnati with 388 yards total offense, and the Rams with 372. Extra defensive backs come in as Sam Weiss and Dick LeBeau as defensive coordinator anticipate an Everett pass. 3rd and 7 at the 9. Holohan, first down at the 1.
Holohan straight up the field. He simply put his body between himself and Carter and caught the ball. Everett just threw it to a target. You see Holohan to our outside, and look, he's just inside right between people, and Everett just threw it as hard as he could right into that big, massive body.
Holohan, even with a presence while 3 men were holding him up, to reach out and try to get more. Well, you just look at him, and you know he's got to be great in the huddle.
And you don't think pass receiver. But so often we get a little confused with the size of the guy rather than what he could do to help you win.
Rams go for the tie. It's Gary. Not quite. Barney Bussey coming up to support from a secondary position. By the way, Skip McClendon injured earlier in this half with a bad shoulder. There's Skip, who is regarded as their top down lineman. Bad shoulders, you can see, and will not return. Ricky Dixon also went out with a concussion.
I'm sure Sam White is Sam Wright's right now.
And Eric Ball, also with an ankle injury. He's out for the rest of the game.
That would hurt him. But right now, I'm sure Sam White is thinking what he's going to do on his next drive. He almost has to assume there's 6 points right here.
Cleveland Gary, touchdown.
Gary right up over the top, and you see people coming right in there after him, but he just spins off and beats Walker right at the goal line.
And now Lansford, an extra point to tie it, and a comeback complete from 21 points down for the Rams. 28-28, a flag is down. Jim Tunney, the referee. Offside.
Offside defense. Point after was successful. We will penalize of the kickoff. 5-yard penalty on the kickoff.
So John Robinson's team has come fighting back to tie in the 4th. Interesting, the NFC West teams, the Rams, 49ers having the bye. And they both started very slowly. The Niners dropped behind 14-0 at Houston, eventually won. And the Rams 21-0 down, and now have rallied to tie at 28. Sam Weiss's team gets the ball. Two of the highest scoring teams in football, true to their character in Anaheim today. And with 12 minutes, 50 seconds left, this might be one of those I hope we have the ball last games.
Well, it may be an error, too. Either team fumbling or an interception, a punt return, something to get field position before the game's over.
Well, it was the fumble on the option by Brooks and Esiason that set up the last score. Lansford hits a knuckleball. Mitchell Price to the 21, and that's all. Butcher and Clark made the tackle. Let's pause for a moment and check the Hertz 10-minute ticker. The winners earlier. Minnesota 1-4 now. So is San Diego.
Now, as Pittsburgh has won 2 games, haven't they? With all everything that's gone on,
they're 2-3.
They're still there to compete.
Cincinnati with a win goes 4-1. The Rams need a win to even their mark at 2-2. Lots of time for Boomer. And he hits his man McGee on the sidelines out at the 40-yard line. Tim McGee with another catch. Bobby Humphrey on the coverage. 19 more yards. 5 catches for McGee and 99 yards today.
Boomer got well outside of everybody. They collapsed the defense to the inside. Now McGee just sprints until he gets Humphrey turned. Then the ball is thrown. And Humphrey's right on top, but McGee's in front of him. Boomer, I don't think I've ever seen Boomer throw as well as he is today, Dick. Just everything on the money, good velocity.
McGee goes to the left. James Brooks out of the backfield to the right. Was open the whole time, but Boomer said that's only about 3 yards and looked for something else. Went back to McGee, and at that point I think McGee was looking for somebody to really belt him.
That or he really wanted to run with him. He thought he'd have a chance to run because he was so open, but Boomer let the zone defense drop deeper and deeper and deeper. Then he threw it out to McGee, who didn't handle it. Now the Rams are really concerned about that double rotation they were hurt with by Brooks earlier, so they may not do it again, which gives Esiason a chance to throw to his outside receivers.
Wide open is Holman, the tight end, out of bounds at the Ram 37. And Rodney Holman's having a Pro Bowl day. 22 more yards for him. With Eddie Brown out, they're using McGee and Holman and Brooks as the primary receivers.
Well, McGee releases straight up the field to clear the zone out. Then Holman will break right into the hole here. No one there. Again, the Rams are forced to go to a one-on-one coverage because they were burnt so badly with their double zone earlier. So the Bengals are just taking advantage of it.
8 catches for Rodney Holman and 146 yards today. He's a tight end who's playing some of the wide receiver assignments because of Brown's injury. He's in tight on the right side. Here's Brooks. Taking on the tackler and out of bounds at about the 33. Stams and Gray make the hit.
Brooks is so physical. He takes big linebackers on head to head and comes right back to the huddle. I think this time he's sort of waving himself off. He's really tired. He has to be.
Well, he hits like his idol, Henry Aaron. He is a slugger. 2nd down and 5. 11 minutes left, 4th quarter, 28 all.
Every play call is critical at this point. You can't afford a bad play. Wide open.
Green out of the backfield, slipped, but gets the first down at the 25-yard line.
You can, from this vantage point, Dick, it's really a lot of fun to watch a game because you can see all these things developing. That time Green came out of the backfield, and Boomer did such a fine job of faking in here that Green out of the backfield, no one there at all. And you see excellent fake here, hiding the ball. Then out comes Green late. The Rams have given too much room in their zone, and the Bengals take advantage of it.
In fact, Brooks, after the fake, he was wide open on the other side. At the 25-yard line, they're in field goal range. 10 minutes to go. Esiason and Everett in a pitching party here at Anaheim Stadium. They're really throwing it. Down goes Esiason as Mike Peel gets the first sack of the game.
Esiason coming out to his left. The Rams all week. We talked to Kevin Green, talked all week about Esiason coming out to his left. Whoever's responsible out there has to keep their eye on him. You can't pursue the play. Good fake, but you see the defensive people are right there looking at it, and even Wright, the nose tackle, came over and was alert to it.
Peel, who wore number 50 when he played at Illinois. Dick Butkus's number there with the Illini before they retired it. 2nd and 17. And the Rams call timeout. Well, in this game, that could be critical. A timeout spent by Los Angeles. Game even at 28.
NBC Sports coverage of the National Football League is brought to you by Mazda Cars and Trucks. Mazda, it just feels right. By Siemens, leading-edge technology that gives you an edge. by United Airlines. Serving over 200 cities in the U.S. and around the world. Come fly the friendly skies. And by America's favorite light beer, Miller Lite, the sole sponsor of the NFL Player of the Year Awards.
9 minutes and 37 seconds remaining. 28 all. And both Everett and Esiason, without an interception being thrown, 5 touchdowns between them. There you go. Total yardage, 643 passing. Boomer slightly ahead in the numbers. Looking now at 2nd and 17 after the Ram timeout. Holman, incomplete. Broken up by Bobby Humphrey, just as Holman appeared to be open for his 9th catch of the day.
Normally, Eddie Brown would be playing that position, Dick, and his quickness very well could have got free of Humphrey. But Humphrey's in pretty good shape, covering the tight end here. But the throw is beautiful. It's a beautiful shot by Esiason. Beautiful shot.
Should have caught. I thought Humphrey knocked it away, but the ball was there. Holman just couldn't bring it in. 3rd and 17, and that loss on 1st down on the sack by Mike Peel may have taken the Bengals out of field goal range if they don't get some yardage here. Underneath, Brooks fighting to the 22, and that will give Jim Breach a chance to break the tie.
What Wiltshire was all over Brooks that time, and Esiason just dropped the ball softly in front of Brooks, who caught it. Excellent football, because Brooks is fatigued, playing all day, doing everything asked of him, and still outmaneuvering somebody like Wiltshire.
It will be about 40 yards for Breach to tie. He has hit one longer than that this year, 46, and is 8 for 9, as you can see, on the season. The veteran from California tries to regain the lead for Cincinnati. And he's got it. Smallest foot in the league. He has a ballet slipper size 5.5, but hits it big for 31-28. And we hope you'll kick into our big night on NBC following this telecast in the East and Central time zones with a new dramatic series, Hull High School. Then don't miss the critically acclaimed new series, Life Stories. Tonight, the show looks at the first 48 minutes of a heart attack in real time. An extraordinary story. Life Stories also has the McMillions number tonight. And then best-selling author Jackie Collins brings her spectacular characters to life in an NBC world premiere, Jackie Collins' Lucky Chances, beginning tonight only on NBC. So interesting lineup here on Sunday evening with the Peacock. Hope you'll stay with us, and certainly these two teams have provided some terrific NFL drama.
Well, every player's been tested today because every player's been on the field. The nickel defense, every defensive back has had a play to make. Everybody on that roster has been part of this game one way or the other.
The defense has exactly been holding, have they? The last 4 possessions, the team with the ball has scored.
Well, 3 points may not do it for Sam Weich, and I'm sure he's well aware of that, because the Rams are moving the ball so effectively. And the Bengals blitzed early, and it killed them, and it worked. But they blitzed late, and that killed them. So the Rams are going to really be looking for the blitz now. I think they've got it all figured out.
Lee Johnson, who has 14 touchbacks this year, and this might be another. Yes, it is. So Lee Johnson denies the run back, touchback at the 20. Well, next Sunday, here's our lineup on NBC. Hope you'll be with us, starting with our NFL Live crew at 12:30. In fact, I'm going to be back in New York. Bob Costas off to Barcelona. Cincinnati, Houston, San Diego, and the Jets. Cleveland, New Orleans are the early games, and Seattle, Raiders, Pittsburgh, Denver, the late games. What catches your eye?
Well, Pittsburgh now has come back, so that'll be interesting if they can make something happen. Cleveland, it'll be interesting in that case to see if they recovered in any way from that terrible game they had a week ago.
Well, they'll be tested tomorrow night in Denver, and of course a bit later it's Buffalo and the Raiders. The Raiders, the only AFC team that is perfect. Buford McGee to the 25 for a gain of 5. Francis and Carter.
Again, they're throwing in front of Carter, in front of Billups. A pass is good for 7 or 8 yards, and they're getting it. I'm sure they're going to come with a hitch and then a go. Pump it and get Carter to come forward and throw it over his head on a go pattern. I'm sure that Ernie Zampese's got that one in mind. He's got to get a first down situation, most likely, to get that defense.
Pete Holohan comes in for McGee. 8:01, 8 minutes exactly left. Rams have spent 2 of their timeouts. Cleveland Gary met rudely after a gain of 3, and with Zander and Walker filling the hole, David Grant there as well. The Bengals thought they had a fumble.
Well, with 3rd and 3, you've got to think Holohan will be a factor.
There's Pete Holohan, who was one of Joe Montana's targets when they were teammates at Notre Dame. And we have an injured Bengal on the field. It's been a rough game in that regard for Cincinnati. They've lost 3 players. Ricky Dixon, the defensive back, Eric Ball, the kick returner, running back, and defensive lineman Skip McClendon. And there's Fulcher, and it's the left knee that has been bothering him for the last couple of weeks.
It's been a cartilage to this point. In his case, you just hope it is cartilage.
And one of those things, it's got to be tough where, you know, he's just not totally healthy. He knows it, but he wants to play. And he doesn't want to take the operation now, which might keep him out of there 2 to 3 weeks on the arthroscopic. Such a valuable member of the defense for Sam White.
That big safety, big linebacker type athlete is the one that seems to be dominating football now. In coverage, they can make such big hits downfield. And then as a blitzer, Fulcher has a history of breaking games wide open. But this should be it for him today.
Well, it was his hit on Cleveland Gary, forcing a fumble that set up one of the 3 consecutive touchdowns scored by Sam White's team to start the game and jump into the 21-0 lead. Now 31-28. Rams looking at 3rd and 2.5. Ellard had the first down yardage, but the pass a little too tall. Everett upset with himself.
The Bengals chose to blitz inside, and they were all picked up, but Everett threw the ball a little too quickly anyway, and he certainly had Ellard wide open. Everybody looking for Holohan. You see, throwing the ball a little too prematurely. You can see it. Nobody's there. He saw the blitz, and he should have let that blitz get a lot closer to him, Dick, before he threw the ball.
Keith English into punt, 4th time today, with Mitchell Price back. Beautiful driving kick. Price all the way to the 13 on the fair catch. What a kick. Timeout. Keith English, the back of Keith English, and he has backed up the Bengals with the longest kick of the year for him, 58 yards on that last punt, and Cincinnati begins at its 14-yard line.
You know, both punters have done a great job today of getting their teams out of trouble.
Cincinnati 31, the Rams 28, less than 7 minutes to go. And now the pressure on the Ram defense. Green slashing off tackle for 5. Mike Wilcher, one of the many Rams there.
Again, the inherent problem of the Rams, an extra 2 or 3 yards past the line of scrimmage, breaking tackles. The Rams don't tend to meet people flush in the hole. They're always catching people from the side, both defenses, and allowing the extra yards. Now, they're 6 yards when they know they have to stop the run.
You can contrast them with, say, the Giants linebackers. When they hit you, you're usually going back the other way.
Well, that's the difference. The great defenses, and neither team has great defenses. They depend heavily on their system of defense rather than personnel.
Green tries the other side, gets around Kevin Green, but only picks up a couple. Frank Stams and Vince Newsom from the 2nd and 3rd lines of defense. The backer and defensive back make the tackle.
Well, even at this point, there's Green coming up the field, and they're reaching out for him. Holman reaching out, kind of sort of brushing the edge of him, then releasing for another man. But Green continues out and really forces the play right to the outside into Humphrey. But even now, Dick, the Bengals have to be thinking of the clock, even at this point in the game. They got to execute, got to move the ball, but use that clock.
3rd and 1. Brought down in the backfield. It was Peel again. Mike Peel.
Peel caught the play from behind, and that's happened a number of times in the second half. The Rams slant down behind the play and catch it. Here you see right down behind the play. And that time, really, Reimers was the blocker on Peel.
That's 2 big fourth-quarter plays by Peel. Picked in the 3rd round 2 years ago by the Rams. He was a teammate of the Raiders' Scott Davis. Pretty good Illini down lineman.
Well, Peel was considered an intense football player, not an overachiever, but a guy that could make the most of whatever abilities he's got.
Mickey Sutton at the 38, 40, and 43. 4:29 left. Take another look at the scoreboard. Here it's 31-28. Kansas City surprised as the Colts win their second. The 49ers came from 14-0 down. And Miami now is 4-1 as they rally to beat the Jets at home. Dallas has won its second game. New England had a chance. They were up 2019. Seattle has 2 wins in a week. And Detroit beats Minnesota. That's somewhat of a rarity for the Lions. Pittsburgh big. The offense is really in tune now. Atlanta by a point. And the Bears and Green Bay in a struggle in the NFC Central. Everett wide open. Henry Ellard to the Cincinnati 41.
Well, you knew that one was coming earlier in the game. We helped you with the out, the post, and the deep end. That time they got Billups turning deep, straight down the field, and then broke it off behind him. Now you see Billups remaining outside but turning his back. Then we break out, and there's a big hole in the defense. Billups is all by himself down that field. No linebacker help, nothing to help him. You see him turning away, and he loses track of his receiver.
And again, Ellard giving Everett, as he said, all that daylight to throw to with that explosive break. Del Pino gets to the Cincinnati 38, a gain of about 3. And the clock ticks down. The Rams trying to drive at least within field goal range for a tying attempt, but looking for something bigger. Sam Weich's team has played well offensively.
Look for the hitch or the quick out and up pattern against somebody. Most likely Carter on this side. They've set it up with all those passes they've thrown in front of him before.
It's Ellard on this side against Carter. Anderson goes on the other side against Billups. Lots of time, and Gary is open. Zander from behind, first down at the 26.
As Zander had his problem. He's got the whole field between him and his receiver, and Gary comes out of the backfield, and you'll see him come right through here and here, and now you see Zander trying to cover that. Everything else is released down the field. No one to help Zander. Now Everett sort of times this. You see him come out late. Everett's looking up the field, then out comes Gary, and Zander's all by himself with him.
Spotted at the 27, a first down, 2.5 minutes left. Everett. And Tua Tagovailoa, number 96, makes the hit from behind. That might take it to the 2-minute timeout.
What stress on those cornerbacks now. You deal with those Ram receivers. Anderson can fly by you. Ellard with all that quickness. And it's going to be tough for the Bengals at this point. Naturally, they hope just to get a field goal out of it now.
Ball is spotted at the 26. A 1-yard gain, 2nd and 9 when we come back. 3-point game and 2 minutes to go, and the Rams are at the Cincinnati 26. Both quarterbacks over 300 yards. This is your kind of game.
Well, finally, both offenses have gotten on track against average defenses. But the intensity, the guys that are suffering now are the defensive coordinators at this point, because they've got to make the right call or they could cost them the game. The Bengals are in a little bit of trouble now with their corners matched up.
And they're looking for a possible field goal attempt here. They're thinking, let's at least make them just tie us. We're on 2nd and 9. Everett and the Rams and these fans looking for a big score. He goes up on top for Anderson. Incomplete. Carl Carter saved the score for Cincinnati.
Carter really had to go for that one because he was beat by 2 or 3 steps. Beautifully thrown ball, and almost took a superhuman effort to just get part of it. When you're in there against Anderson, one of the fastest people in football or even in the world, you can see him beat Carter. The ball's just a little bit underthrown, and Carter comes back and makes the stop.
You can see Anderson, while he's looking for the ball, was running as fast as Carter was just sprinting as hard as he could trying to catch him.
Pure desperation.
3rd and 9. Give to Del Pino, and he's hit at the 23, and so it'll be Mike Lansford on 4th down coming in for the field goal. Now, Lansford has missed his last 4 in a row. Early in the season, second game, he injured his calf. He said he thought he ruptured his Achilles tendon. It was a loud pop. It was right where the calf meets that Achilles tendon in the kicking leg, and so he said, I've been tender and a little ginger about the way I've approached the ball, and after making his first, he's missed those 36, 41, 48, and 49, and Cincinnati, as he is getting ready to kick what will be a 39 or 40-yarder, calls timeout and lets Mike Lansford think about it. If he's successful, it'll be a 31 tie. Mike Lansford, 40 yards to tie. And only another kicker could appreciate that smile after missing 4 in a row.
Missing 4 in a row, then being put in a spot to kick one that far, because that field goal could be the most important, certainly up to this point in the season, because the Rams just can't afford to get that far behind, or what would it be, 4 games behind the 49ers, 3 games behind the 49ers. The tactics, they went for the end zone with Anderson and then ran the ball off tackle. You would think more likely they'd have thrown some intermediate passes to get into a position to know they've got the field goal, then go for the end zone. So they really counted on Lansford that time, giving a long field goal like that after those misses.
Jim Breach kicked the 40 to give Cincinnati the lead, and Lansford answers with a 40-yarder. Now it's the Bengals with 1:36 seconds left to try to drive down and give Breach another chance to win it.
Well, the kickoff return becomes critical. If the Bengals can get up into the 30-yard line area, then they can really open up their offense. Otherwise, they almost have to think, Dick, of using that clock and getting into overtime.
That's right. The Rams have only 1 timeout left, so they can't really do much to stop the clock. Jennings and Price are deep. Lansford, because of that entry, not getting a lot of length on his kickoffs. This one's pretty good, though. Inside the 5. Mitchell Price. He gets only to the 18-yard line. Good coverage.
Now the very critical strategy on the part of Sam White, what to do. With 1:30, they can use the clock up and get into overtime and at least help them with field position after a kickoff or a kickoff return. But here, backed up, any problem whatsoever, any kind of an interception or anything of that nature, and they can lose the game very quickly.
He comes out in a spread formation.
Look for a trap play inside. I've got to think they'll run one.
To the sidelines, a gain of about 6 to Tim McGee. McGee, coming into this game, had caught 14, and he's got about half that many in this one. 6 catches today, 106 yards.
Often the pass rushers are the guy that are more fatigued in a situation like this than the protectors, because they've rushed. Now they lose an edge, and the protectors are in good shape. Just get right in front of them and stop them.
That's a good point. That's perhaps why Mike Peel, who was a fresh, he didn't start, much fresher than the other Ram linemen, has made a couple of big plays here.
Could have made a difference.
Flags are down.
There's that run we talked about.
James Brooks to the 35-yard line and a first down.
Well, you can see that one coming all day. The Ram nickel defense doesn't have anybody backing up the line of scrimmage. If you give the ball to somebody, he's going to make his yards. And that time, Brooks split it for a good 10-yard gain.
Offside defense is declined. Result of the play, first down.
You'll notice right here there's only one man to stop this entire situation, because when they release people, they're all covered. So in this case, they can hand the ball to Brooks and feel pretty safe in the fact that they can get some yardage out of it.
The only defensive lineman in the game is Brian Smith. Just one true defensive lineman. The rest are linebackers and defensive backs. First down with 1:16 to go.
There's a screen to the other side.
Incomplete.
Well, was that a good call, Dick?
He had a blocker isolated on one man, and there was only one Ram defender on this side of the field.
Joe Walter, the tackle, came out of there, and the tackle pulls on a screen. No one can really read it. Historically, they pull a center or a guard, and those people can read it, but the tackle this time, Joe Walters, slipped out there with Brooks, one man, and the ball wasn't thrown accurately. Beautiful call.
1 minute, 10 seconds to go in Anaheim.
He's kind of audible to that trap. It's wide open in the middle to run the ball.
To the sidelines, and it's McGee again, stopping the clock at the 42, shy of the first down by 3 yards. 1:05 remaining.
This puts the nickel defense in a real jam because they're out there to stop the pass, and yet all the Bengals have to do is get 3 yards running the ball. So I'd have to think they're going to run inside with Brooks.
Third down, a short 3. Flag is down. Might have a lineman downfield.
Joe Walters threw a block that time. Downfield, got his man down, but Boomer had not thrown the ball yet.
Signal is an eligible man downfield. Walter is about 5 yards beyond the line of scrimmage. It'll be declined by John Robinson, I would think. And what that sequence did for the Rams was it kept them with only one timeout with plenty of time. There's a full minute remaining as Lee Johnson comes in to punt. I don't think there's any doubt as to what Kevin Green's going to do here.
Ineligible player, number 63 offense downfield is declined. It'll be 4th down.
Joe Walter will pull to the outside and pick up his man, but the ball has not been thrown yet. You see him coming to the outside. There's his block, but the ball hasn't been thrown. It finally is thrown, but the block's already been initiated.
So Lee Johnson to punt with Mickey Sutton back at his 15. Not a very good kick. Sutton at the 25. 35-yard line with 50 seconds to go, and the Rams with one timeout to try to drive for a winning field goal. Don't forget, except on the West Coast, it's the hottest news show of the season tonight on NBC. Hull High, followed by the critically acclaimed Life Stories, and then a world premiere miniseries, part 1 of Jackie Collins' Lucky Chances. Viewers on the West Coast tune in at 7 tonight Pacific time for our NBC lineup. We're pleased you've joined us today at Anaheim Stadium, where unless the Rams can score in the next 50 seconds, we have an overtime.
Well, this is what they practiced throughout training camp all year, the 2-minute offense.
To the sidelines. What a catch! Willie Anderson at the 47. That used only 8 seconds.
Beautiful break by Anderson, and all that speed. Carter just had too much to handle, but the ball was thrown beautifully. This is the best I've seen either of these quarterbacks throw the ball in some time.
Take the distance, 1st down. Untouched, split out of bounds, clock is stopped.
And a 1st down yardage out to the 46. Esiason now has to root for the defense, hopes he can get a chance in overtime. Down the middle. Almost a one-handed stab by Pete Holohan. Leo Barker was there.
Barker's job was to cover Holohan, and he's a faster man, I'm sure, but Holohan just got an edge of him and circled right around behind him. Beautiful throw.
We had to like the way Everett just set up, and he really was driving that front foot right into the throw.
Good protection, just missed it by inches.
2nd and 10. Rams have one timeout, remember.
This is what, Dick, this is what you practice all through training camp, all of these kind of situations. They're really a test.
Going deep for Anderson. Broken up. David Fulcher, bad knee and all. Boy, what a gutty play by this guy, playing hurt to race over and knock it down.
I didn't think he could do it. Beautiful job. He's sprinting down the field all the way over, and that knee doesn't hurt him there. What a heart. He doesn't have great speed to start with, but he played the ball perfectly.
3rd and 10 with 30 seconds left.
These guys will sacrifice for each other. You know, we have all these problems with the press and the people concerned about it. But these guys are out to play. They sacrifice for each other. This is football.
Anderson is open. First down at the 39.
Can do is play man-to-man. They've got to shut off everything, and it's really just too much to ask. Rod Jones covering this fleet-footed guy, and with the protection that Everett's given. As we pointed out before, the pass rushers now are the guys that are disadvantaged. They're the guys that are tired because the effort they have to make to get to the passer, down after down.
6 catches now for Anderson and 128 yards. Ellard incomplete. It appeared the Bengals were offside, but I don't see a flag.
They have to give Dick LeBeau a lot of credit or a rating or something for nerve. He blitzed that time. In this situation, one complete pass can lose the game, but it didn't work. It disrupted Everett.
2nd down and 23 seconds left. They're out of Lansford in his condition as long as 52, and that's when his leg was really 100%. He's about 90% now.
Well, they can really only afford one pass in the middle of the field because the clock will run out before if they try to get 2 or 3 in there.
Looking for Holohan. Comes this way, incomplete to Anderson. Now this becomes a huge play for the Rams on 3rd and 10. They need to pick up some yardage, if not the first down, to give Lansford a decent shot. At the moment, a field goal would be 57 yards.
Well, Dick, you've got a choice of trying to throw to a receiver breaking out of bounds. The Bengals are looking for that. Or throwing the ball inside, completing it, and getting over the ball and stopping the clock before the 18 seconds are up. So that's the tough choice. He's going to have really one down to do it in.
He sends the rookie Faison to the right. Brings his 2 stars, Anderson in the slot, and Ellard wide left. And Holohan over the middle. It's to Anderson, incomplete. 4th down. Go for it. You could read the lips of Robinson.
Well, now he has to throw out of bounds or for the end zone. Has no choice. Something breaking to the outside.
Wait, now 14 seconds, Bill. If he throws one over the middle, let's say 15 yards, he can call the timeout, get the field goal team on.
Yeah, he might be able to get that done. But if there's any fooling around down there, the receiver running with the ball after the catch, anything, they're going to have a real tough time getting that done.
Holohan deflected. Holohan was open, but someone at the line of scrimmage got a hand on it. And so the Bengals take over on downs with 11 seconds left.
Now the prevent defense. Defensive coordinators now worry about this. Fritzy Shermer now gets that prevent out there because one big pass by Cincinnati can make a difference. Boy, it can change back and forth. And as a defensive coordinator, you just hate to think, uh-oh, they're going to get the ball back.
11 seconds left. 31 all. A pair of 40-yard field goals, one by Breach of the Bengals, the other by Lansford to tie it of the Rams here in the 4th period. Kendall Smith at the 50 with 3 seconds left and a timeout called by Cincinnati. About 10 yards on the play. Last play unless a penalty. 3 seconds left in regulation. Bengals with one desperate throw remaining, and the Rams back way off. They have a defensive man inside his own 10. Underneath, Mike Barber, and he's tackled at the 28-yard line, and flags go down, and that could be a huge break if it's against the Rams, because the game cannot end on a defensive penalty. If it's against the Rams, the penalty would be marked off, and then Breach could come in to try the field goal because enough yardage made that he's within Breach's range.
You'd have to assume it was a face mask.
Illegal block. Number 82 offense. Offensive foul. The game is over. We go to overtime.
The regulation is over. We do go to overtime. Tied at 31. They'll flip a coin, determine who gets the ball first. And that might be a real advantage for these two teams.
It really would. Plus the kickoff itself. Any kind of a return can establish field position.
You were in many overtime games that you can remember?
Not that many. I don't think we did that well either, come to think of it.
Well, let's see. The Bengals, this is for the life of the organization, 6-4, and the Rams 6-3-1. The Rams had some experience last year, 3 overtime games, winning 2.
Heads, it is tails. Los Angeles want to talk.
Well, the Rams will get the first chance. And will receive to our right. John Robinson's team down 21-0 early and now have a chance to win it in overtime. Back after these words from your local station.
Congratulations, Cincinnati Reds, on winning the Western Division.
Well, it figures that Jim Everett and his counterpart Boomer Esiason will play the major roles in the outcome here in overtime. And Esiason across the field is on a record pace, as you can see, 393 yards for Boomer. His all-time high 4 years ago against the Jets, 425. So he's just a handful of yards away from a career high. Everett had the big game against New Orleans last year. Remember, that was that Flipper Anderson game when Anderson set an NFL record for most yards by a receiver. Everett had 454 yards in that game. Well, if you just joined us looking for our NBC lineup of Hull High life stories and the premiere of the miniseries Jackie Collins' Lucky Changes, we're into an overtime situation here in Anaheim, California. The Rams and the Cincinnati Bengals. Stay with us. As soon as this game concludes, we will switch you to our primetime Sunday night programming. But welcome aboard. Dick Enberg with Bill Walsh. A game that started all Cincinnati, 21-0 early. It was 21-7 Bengals at the half. Then the Rams rallied to tie at 28. The Bengals kicked the field goal 40 yards late to go ahead by 3, and the Rams countered with a 40-yarder by Lansford to tie it at 31. And now the Rams will get the ball first in overtime.
John Robinson just a moment ago with Everett on the sideline, both smiling. John has got a way to just relax everybody and remind them to keep their poise. And the way John speaks of it, I think I might differ. To him, it's just a lot of fun being out there. Now, of course, Ernie Zampisi's calling the offense, and Chris Shermer's calling the defense, but John has got an easing way about him that people don't just get all wrought up in how they're going to play the game. They're going to enjoy it.
You saw from that one graphic, not much defense today. It's been all offense as Lee Johnson starts overtime. Lattenberry, the rookie from Oregon, bounces through one tackle and then is crushed at the 21-yard line as a tackle made by Craig Ogletree. Well, in case you're wondering what happened in the NFL today, here are all the finals. Winners: Indianapolis, San Francisco, Miami, Dallas, Seattle, and Detroit. Pittsburgh, Atlanta, and the Bears lead by 7 late against Green Bay.
just when you think a team's rolling and going to be a power like Kansas City, they get beat by Indianapolis. Everybody was giving up on Indianapolis.
Everyone, a week ago, Seattle was 0-3. Now they're 2-3 in a week's time. Underneath to Ellard. And a gain of 13 yards before Barney Bussey can make the tackle, along with David Fulcher.
Everett had all the time he needed. And that time, Ellard fought it out with Billups all the way down the field. But Everett could wait on Ellard. And finally, he broke away, and they threw the ball. And that, again, demonstrates the lack of pass rush in these overtime games. And the Bengals had better not blitz with those receivers. But the time, it gives the quarterback all the time he needs and the receiver all the time he needs.
Both Anderson and Ellard, the top targets for Everett, over 100 yards receiving today. So is McGee of Cincinnati and Holman. Cleveland Gary. Tough 6 yards before Wilcox can down him.
I think Gary's for real. He may negate a Marcus Allen trade. He might. And I'm sure the Rams would like Marcus, but Gary's playing just well enough after that early fumble. He's changing direction. He runs strong. He could be the answer.
On 2nd and 4, he comes out. Oops, then called back in. 93 yards today, the best running effort by an individual for the Rams this season. He apparently has taken the job from Kurt Warner and Gaston Green. Confusion, and Everett finally didn't have the right players in there and uses a timeout. Just a minute and a half into overtime. The Rams, during the week, made news in signing Marcus Dupree. Remember, as a freshman at Oklahoma, gained nearly 1,000 yards and then went to the USFL, and in his second season had a terrible knee injury. His career over, everyone thought. He ballooned up to 270 pounds, and then this year he called Dick Corey, who was his coach in the USFL, and his Robinson's quarterback coach said, you know, my knee feels pretty good. I'm getting in shape. I think I can play again. And Corey said, give me another call when you really have your weight down. He's down to 220. We saw him in practice yesterday.
He's a horse.
Oh, my, he is a thoroughbred.
He looks like a combination of Chuck Muncie and Eric Dickerson. He's got that size. He ended his career at 260 pounds trying to play football, so you don't know how many years he'll spend dedicated as he is right this minute. But if they could bring this guy back, that might settle their running back woes.
He's on the 4-week injured reserve list right now. 2nd down. And Carter able to get a hand on the pass intended for Ellard. Had to go across Ellard's body, but no flag.
That seam post, it was just about there. The other thing that showed up on that last series, the Rams released a back out of the line of scrimmage, nobody near him late in a zone defense. So look for Cleveland Gary or someone to catch the ball late in the middle. Of course, this is 3rd down. They've got to get 4 yards out of it. Should be man-to-man coverage.
Basin with Ellard in the slot to the right, and Anderson split left. Plenty of time. Holohan can't quite get there. So 4th down, the punting team in.
Holohan got open on that. Carter covering him, a much quicker athlete, but Holohan with that big muscle just staying there, and actually it was Bussey who picked him up late, breaking to the inside. He's just overthrown that a couple times. Another possession, Holohan will start getting that ball.
Keith English to punt. Mitchell Price back looking into the sun at the 18 of Cincinnati. Low kick. Price at the 12. And he returns near the 25-yard line. So the Bengals get their first chance in overtime. We remind you our lineup next Sunday on NBC starting at 12:30 with NFL Live. The Chargers go against the Jets, Cincinnati, Houston, and Cleveland will play in New Orleans. And the late games, Seattle winning their last 2 to get back into the race in the West against the Raiders, who are 4-0 as they prepare to play at Buffalo tonight. And Pittsburgh has a couple of wins at Denver. That's next Sunday here on NBC. Flag down, Bill Hawkins, number 70, and Fred Strickland, 53 for the Rams.
I think that should be the end of that 17 play, they call it. The last 4 or 5 times they've tried it, the Rams have just locked into it.
And this one cost them 10 yards as well.
Offensive holding, number 75. 10 yards, it'll still be first down.
Bruce Reimers in his first game of the season, recovering from that fractured foot. Sam White's called him as mean and as tough as we've got at 298 pounds. He and Munoz form quite a left side of the line.
It's amazing that Reimers can play this entire game. I know Sam just wanted to use him maybe a quarter or two, and he's gutting it out.
First and 20. Out of the backfield to Green to the 22. Sams and Newsom with a tackle.
Well, they just got to get as much field position as they can, aside from going for a score, before they punt the ball.
They got 7 there, so it's 2nd and 13. Jackie Slater, the veteran of the Rams, in his 15th year at right tackle. When we get a chance, we'll just show you some of the quarterbacks that have played since Slater started as a rookie.
It's like the history of football.
Little dump off to Rodney Holman. Stopped 7 yards shy of a first down by Frank Stams.
Again, just pecking their way up the field and assuring field position before they punt it.
Holman with his 9th catch, 155 yards. McGee has 7 catches, 113 yards, and Boomer's over 400 yards. James Brooks has over 100 yards. So we have 5 receivers in this game with 100 yards in catches. Big play, 3rd and 6.
Zone defense.
Deflected and almost intercepted. Harold Green was open out of the backfield, but one of the Rams getting a hand up.
Kevin Green finally got close to the size in that time. Munoz has really been nullifying whatever he's done, but that time he finally got close. You see him coming from the right of the screen around the edges of it. There he is.
I think it was 99 Alvin Wright that actually deflected the ball. And here's Lee Johnson to punt with 11 minutes left in overtime. Short kick, it's returnable, 31. Mickey Sutton at the 40. And gets it to the 45-yard line. Good field position for the Rams.
Paul Butcher really made a key tackle, and it was right down the middle. In this kind of a situation, any tackle that is broken can mean field position and a field goal.
There's Jackie Slater, veteran right tackle, many times a Pro Bowler. Since he's been here, here are the Ram quarterbacks he's blocked for. Some names that'll intrigue you. Joe Namath, Bob Lee, Dan Pastorini.
You know, so many of these guys were sort of, their careers were behind them by the time they got to their end. Bartkowski, Herman.
Not Everett.
Not Everett.
He goes to work down in the pits. Everett gets away. Fumbles, but he was down. Ball ruled down at the 46-yard line. So he got a couple when he should have lost 5 or 6.
Well, Crumrye showed up for the first time today in the inside, and he spun off of a block right here, and he's getting close.
Tim Crumrye, the great nose tackle of the Bengals, who had that ugly fracture in the Super Bowl against you down in Miami. He still has that 15-inch pin through his leg.
You would have considered him one of the top players in football at that time, and he's really still recovering.
Timeout called with 10:16 to go in OT. Jim Everett, his father, Dr. James Everett, who is a full professor at the University of New Mexico in Albuquerque, special education, said his dad wasn't too involved. He always rooted for him, never involved until he was in the 7th grade. He said he decided to coach our team. And he made me a linebacker.
Well, and he played safety in high school, an all-league safety man. And
made All-State in safety. Said it really helped him, yeah.
Well, here he is. He hopes he doesn't have to make a tackle in the next few moments.
Went to Purdue, recruited there by Lenny Dawson, part of that, Lenny Dawson and Mike Phipps and Gary Danielson, and then this young man, followed by Jeff George, the big $1 million man with the Indianapolis Colts, part of that Purdue passing tradition.
Well, a number of teams were interested in Jim, including the 49ers. We thought he would be an excellent replacement for Joe at some point. And the Rams just sort of outbid everybody.
2nd and 8.
From the own 45, 2nd and 8. And it's James Francis with his 2nd sack as Francis charges through. A rookie from Baylor. Kind of a controlled charge.
Well, it just took a lot of effort because actually Everett went to his 3rd receiver before he actually pulled the ball down. It's reasonably good pass protection by Newberry there, but Everett by now has taken at least 5, maybe even 6 seconds before he was tackled.
For Francis, that puts him up in the high rent district in the NFL statistics with 7 sacks now in 5 games. He says, I think I can get 20 for a year. 3rd down and long, and there's Anderson. 1 yard shy of a 1st down, maybe closer to 2, as Rod Jones denied him the yardage needed for the 1st down at the Cincinnati 47. It's 4th and 2. Interesting call for Robinson.
The crowd wants him to go for it. I can't believe it. One mistake here, and it's over. They might as well punt and get field position. Gee.
Those fans could cost the guy a job, I bet.
Oh, boy.
Boy, between the media pressure and the fan pressure, and do you head coaches ever really feel close to anyone other than your own family?
I don't think the 49er fans would have been concerned at this strategy.
Mitchell Price at the other end of Keith English's punt. Very high.
Beautiful punt.
Fair catch at the 11-yard line. Coming up next, right after the game, except on the West Coast, here's our lineup. Hull High, followed by Life Stories, and then the world premiere tonight of the miniseries Jackie Collins' Lucky Changes, due to the length of this game going into overtime. Programming on Sunday night starting late, but stay with us. As soon as we have a score, this game is over. If not, they've allowed the 15-minute overtime period in which to score. And if neither team does, then it'll be one of the rare NFL ties.
You know, you're tempted at this point on the field. Sam Weich, I'm sure, is tempted any special plays he has. But if they were to blow up on him, they could lose possession. It's really tough to go to anything you haven't used before during the game itself.
Well, the Bengals have had terrible field position here in the overtime. Underneath to Francis. The rookie, good running. All the way to the 32. He did not go out of bounds.
At least 3 people had a shot at him. And you almost get desperate trying to make a stop here.
Harold Green, he's 222, 6'2" frame. And good speed from South Carolina.
Well, Boomer just wanted to fake, let the Ram defenders drop in their zones, then hit a back out late. Both backs were open. But it shouldn't have been that many yards.
Anthony Newman finally made the tackle out at the 33, so the Bengals now have decent field position. Oh, wide open is McGee at the 40 of the Rams. Tim McGee, another big gainer.
McGee went into the corner and beat the Ram zone. Beautiful shot. He releases straight up the field. And Newsom is going to rotate outside and up close, and there he's throwing the ball in behind him. So Newsom had the close coverage, and McGee just broke right out behind him.
That gives him 8 catches today, 22 for the year, as little Jim Breach keeping that kicking leg loose.
Kevin Green needs a sack or a force or something here. They have to get close to Boomer.
Esiason now with his all-time personal high, 456 yards. Looking for more, gets more to Brooks, who darts to the 31-yard line, a gain of 9. So that's a
Well, look now for the Bengals to just run the ball up inside and get as close as they can and kick a field goal.
465 yards. Elliot Kalb, our statistician, he's worn out 3 pencils on the quarterbacks alone today. Uh-oh, and another injury in that one to Tim McGee.
Well, that almost forces the running game. McGee was the run-viable receiver the Bengals have had.
He and, of course, Eddie Brown out for this game, maybe another. Watch him, 85. Makes his cut and just loses his footing.
Well, the general fatigue by now of running as many pass patterns, the number of times they've been down that field sprinting, the fatigue sets in and you can pull a muscle.
Well, now, as you look at McGee's rather impressive numbers today, the ball at the 30, they're in field goal range of a long one, 47 yards, but on 2nd and 1, they have a chance to really pick up a lot more, even on some simple runs.
I don't think they'll call 16 and 17 that off tackle play again. I'd hope not for the Bengals.
The pressure will fall on that veteran kicker Breach, who is 9 for 10 this year. For those of you who haven't followed the Bengals closely, this is a very difficult time for them in the schedule. It's their second of 5 consecutive road games, starting last Monday night in Seattle, where they were beaten rather thoroughly by the Seahawks. Then they go on to Houston next week, and that would have been a home game, but because the Cincinnati Reds baseball team are in the playoffs, they have to switch sites with Houston. Then they go to Cleveland and Atlanta before coming home against New Orleans. Rams have a tough one against the Bears next week.
Well, a lot of it is matchups. I know that's been overstated by a lot of people, but the matchups, the Bengals and Rams match up offensively against each other's defense. So a lot of yardage. Next week they may come up and the matchup isn't good because of a pass rusher or some difference somewhere, and neither team be able to do anything like this.
Now we're near an NFL record in total yards passing today. Total. 2nd and short, and Brooks caught for a loss. Now that's what Sam Whites didn't want to have happen, as Fred Strickland from Purdue came in to make the tackle.
Everybody in the Ram defensive unit, 9 guys up tight in the basic Bear defense, and Strickland just meets his man and does a beautiful job on Caddis trying to handle him and just stuffs the play.
So it's 3rd and closer to 4 than 3. Technically they'll call it 3rd and 3, but it's almost a full 4 yards. They have to get to the 30-yard line. And the tight end has a first down at the 25. And Rodney Holman, what a day this tight end has had. That is his 10th catch for 163 yards. A career day for him.
They released Holman up the field and actually got a block on the man covering him. And we can't see it from this angle, but that's why he's so wide open. The man covering him was right on him. It most likely would have been Wilshire. And they released Holman, and the tackle came out and blocked Wilshire, releasing Holman.
And had Humphrey not made the tackle, there was no one else left for Holman, although he didn't seem to have much left. He was ready to be tackled. He's tired. 5 minutes left in overtime. Brooks gets a couple inside the 25. Final score of the other late game today. The Bears go 4-1, beating the Packers 27-13. So Chicago has a game lead on Tampa Bay as they break that tie for first place. The Bucs lost today. Green Bay falls to 2-3 with the Lions, and Minnesota in last place in the Central 1-4.
Minnesota a surprise, but biggest surprise is Chicago. Mike Ditka and his staff have rebuilt that team. They're playing Chicago kind of football, defensive football, and everybody's right back into it. They'll be a force this year.
Out of the backfield to Brooks. Good play by Frank Stams to stop him for little gain.
Munoz tried to get out in front of Brooks on that screen they've been running to the right, and Stams just read it and went right underneath it for the stop.
He credits Carl Eckern, the former Ram linebacker, who was kind of an a temporary coach of the Rams last year after retiring with really his development, and that's a tragic story. Carl Eckern, during the preseason this year, coaching down in Arizona, left the Rams camp to go down to his coaching job and was involved in an auto accident, and a fatal one it was. So Eckern leaves a wife and young family and many friends who really miss him. 3rd and 11. And Boomer drops at the 27. It'll be a good test of Breach's leg. This will be around 44 or 45 yards for the win.
Well, they tried the option play, and no way. The Rams just pursued right into everybody.
White's without his 2 top wide receivers. Brown not even dressed, and McGee going out. Going with a couple of tight ends, playing it safe. See if the Rams use their second timeout to try to ice Breach a little bit, the injured player on the field.
I would think leg cramps are going to start catching up to these guys right about now, because they've been out there so long. And it's been such an active game. Everybody running.
Alvin Wright appears to be the Ram that's down. Well, for Sam White, as you look at him and the troubles and travails, he goes to Seattle, really gets beaten thoroughly. That's enough to upset any coach. Then he has the incident with a female reporter. He thought he was giving her not only equal access but privileged access, and instead gets a $30,000 fine from the NFL commissioner. And well, there's some of the other things. 5 consecutive road games. That'll make you a little edgy. A road game after a Monday night. The loss itself. The crowd noise rule with his quick huddle. Crowd noise can destroy that. And they said it sounded like the inside of a tornado up there in Seattle, but they didn't call the rule. He says, I guess there is no rule. Then all the mass media distraction in the entire country. No Eddie Brown today, and playing the Rams after bye. A lot of things going against him. If he could somehow escape Anaheim with a win, that would really be a major victory for him. Frankly, I think those of us who interviewed him and the Bengals as they came into Anaheim thought there's probably no way, that they seemed too distracted.
Well, Sam was worried about the team. He said they're flat, they're preoccupied. I don't know what we've done. It's too bad. We're playing the Rams. We've been on the road now for 2 weeks. And I don't know how Sam has done it, because he's been preoccupied and involved in this other media thing.
Well, here it is for the win. Cincinnati's Breach, 44-yard kick. He's done it. The Bengals in overtime, 34-31. Rams fall to 1-3, and Boomer Esiason, with his career high in passing, 471 yards, leads the Bengals to a 34-31 win, and the veteran Breach with a clutch kick from 44. He is 10 for 11 this year. He's nearly perfect. Things haven't been so perfect for Whites, but here's a happy moment in a very stressful week. Right down the middle.
And now for the dressing room. We'll see what happens there. I'm sure the Bengals aren't even thinking about that factor after winning a game like this.
Breach knew as soon as he hit it. So the final score today, the Bengals 34, the Rams 31 in overtime. Stay tuned now. NBC new drama series, Hull High. Don't miss the critically acclaimed new series, Life Stories. Tonight the show looks at the first 48 minutes of a heart attack.